So along with being the American League Player of the Week, Bobby had 11 hits during the homestand and scored 7 times. And that is drilled into deep right field. And Bobby Witt Jr. puts the Royals on the board in the top of the first inning. And that's hit well to right field. Kelenic is back, and that's gone. And the Royals have 2 opposite field home runs in the top of the first inning. And Lofton lines it to left field, and that's going to drive in 2. Nick Lofton comes through again, and he's going to end up with a 2-run double to make it a 1-run game. There's a base hit into right field. Here comes Lofton. Kelenic's throw is going to be offline, and the Royals answer immediately and tie the game at 5.
Derek Hill gives this one a ride. Back it goes. Get out! Derek Hill, a pinch hit home run in the 8th inning.
All right, a Wednesday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Jack Johnson hanging out with us for the first hour. Jeff Montgomery comes up at 11 o'clock. We'll talk with Monty about what he saw last night, Game 1 of the Royals and White Sox. 2 games left, and then a trip to St. Louis before returning home for an extended homestand against the Red Sox, Mariners, and also Yankees next Monday. But we'll talk with Monty what he saw last night from Stephen Kolek. The offense battled, performed well, while also having a number of missed opportunities. We'll discuss that. We'll talk about how I felt about the Royals game last night. Oddly enough, I was just fine with a loss. It's weird. And we'll see if Sterling...
A lover of mediocrity, Jason Anderson.
You know what? 10-2, that's what we do. 1% less bad than the day before. That's what we try to be. We don't always succeed, but that is at least the goal.
Instead of 1% better,
no,
1% less bad. Yeah, I like it.
1% less bad.
That's strong.
If you do that every single day, eventually you won't be as bad. If you can accomplish that. It's like winning every inning, you will be guaranteed to win the game.
Yeah.
If you win 8 of 9 innings, you could still lose the game.
Yeah.
So... just 1% less bad every single day.
That's basically the Royals last night.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Sayre Bettinger is going to be our guest coming up at noon. He hosts the Locked On Broncos podcast, and we'll get the Denver side of this because I'll tell you what, I've really endeared myself to Denver fans, Broncos fans, with my tweets yesterday. They really enjoyed the tweets that I sent out yesterday about the Chiefs hosting Monday Night Football, and it was really bothersome to them that I just simply pointed out that when you don't win the Super Bowl, you aren't guaranteed a home date, and the Chiefs have won the division 9 consecutive years before last year. In that time, they won 3 Super Bowls where they were guaranteed a home game, which means there were 6 Week 1 games in which they won the division but didn't win the Super Bowl. They only hosted twice out of those 6. They went on the road 4 of the 6 times. So
why do people care?
That's a great question. I actually, we'll get into it. I think it's beneficial for both, and we'll talk about why I think it's beneficial for both teams. But Sayre Bettinger will be our guest. We won't just simply talk about the schedule release. We'll get the Broncos side of the offseason so far. George Patton gets an extension.
Yeah.
I'm always curious what teams think of their own GM or what fans think of their own GM because here, Brett Veach has been a big part of building a dynasty. And I know people can say, well, it's Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris Jones, and he's lived off that. Well, I mean, he's completely revamped the offense or the overall roster, I should say, a couple of times in winning some Super Bowls. But there is such a wide range of opinions on Brett Veach as to how good he is or bad he is or generic he is or exceptional that he is as a GM. But George Patton for the Broncos gets an extension. Jalen Waddle is there, the Bo Nix ankle, conversation around Denver along with the Patrick Mahomes knee. So we'll talk with him coming up at noon. 1 o'clock, Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 sports director. We'll get to the bottom of his ankles. Not sure why, but he's presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. But we'll talk some ankles with Mick Schaefer. And Sterling will talk about on a basketball court how he could break those for Mick Schaefer. That's
not
what he'll
anymore.
do.
My incurable bleepy ankle is still not getting better.
That's a great point. You actually did have a broken ankle.
I actually did break my doing laundry.
Which is what typically happens.
Well, no, laundry's a young man's game. It's a young man's game, and
Salvi hurt his knee with the carrying the suitcase.
I'm basically
basically
Salvador Perez's.
That's how I've always
Moral
thought
of
of you
the story.
as the Salvi of 810.
ABS.
Yeah.
Challenge.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
like to challenge your commentary on that too. Trying to think of which I wanted to start with.
That Matt Strum's pitch wasn't actually that bad.
No, I mean it was down. It was a little too much, probably over the plate, but it was low, at least a couple inches below the strike zone. You know what? Let's start there. Let's start there, and we'll get into the Chiefs and no international game in the second segment. They will release another game today at 1 o'clock. Netflix that has 5 NFL games this year. We already know one of those games, which is the 49ers and Rams game in Australia, is a Netflix game. So there are 4 other games, including the doubleheader on Christmas. There's a tripleheader Christmas, but I think 2 of those are on Netflix. So I'm guessing at 1 o'clock Central Time, one of the Christmas Day games will be released. We may have another Chiefs game to talk about at 1 o'clock
They're going
because
to make me go to a bar on Christmas. Thanks, NFL.
I don't think they're making you do that.
Well, I'm not big Netflix, big streaming services
Big
are trying to
streaming.
steal my money.
Big Stream is really coming after.
Big streaming's coming after me, and
Sterling's
they're not
wallet.
getting that dollar. So I'm going to spend $90 at a bar.
Yeah. So at 1 o'clock, there'll be another game that's released. YouTube will release a game at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock Central Time, I think is when that will take place. So there'll be 2 more games released today. And then apparently tomorrow, Sterling and Jack, apparently tomorrow, there's this rumor that the rest of the schedule is going to be released tomorrow night. But I'm
I've
not
heard
sure.
the same.
I'm not sure. They have not confirmed, nor, fellas, have they denied that tomorrow night. Actually, that is the schedule. But we'll have a special schedule release show that'll be hosted by, let me see if I can pronounce this name right, Michael Darcia at 6 o'clock tomorrow with the schedule release show here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Not sure who that is.
And hopefully there's the actual schedule we can talk about.
Yeah, well, we'll
at that
see.
point.
What do you mean we? Are you going to be on the show too?
I think Kyle's actually going to join too.
Oh, really? So it actually is you
Yeah.
and Kyle. Nice. Michael Darcia and Kyle Collier will be doing the show there, and then Westwood One will have coverage here on Sports Radio 810 of the release show, and then Michael Darcia will then, I always think it's Michael or Michael or Michael.
There's an apostrophe, so it can throw
Darcia,
you.
Darcy, was what we really should call him is Darcy. DRC, Mike Hale, DRC, but he'll be back on the radio tonight at 9 o'clock. Let's talk Royals a little bit here. Stephen Kolek battled command, and I thought he was one pitch away from getting out of that in the fifth, and I guess that wouldn't be one pitch away from having another quality start. But in the fifth inning, if he didn't get into the trouble, I think, there was a chance he could have gone to the sixth inning, but that's not what happened. He got into trouble, couldn't get out of it. The walks hurt him in the game last night. The command overall hurt him in the game last night. And one of the things I want to talk to Jeff Montgomery about at 11 o'clock is, as a pitcher, I can't imagine the feeling being on the mound against major league hitters and you're fighting command. Because we think of fighting command, oh, you're walking guys, you're outside of the strike zone. Command is also leaving one over the heart of the plate against Chase Mydroth. And, slipping over the top of the fence. Those 2 home runs he gave up would not have been home runs at Kauffman Stadium. In fact, I only think one of the 5 home runs would have been home runs at Kauffman Stadium. Would Bobby's and Salvi's? I didn't actually look.
They probably would have been with the new fences.
Yeah.
It'd
They
have been
both
close.
were more toward right center. So
Yeah,
I
they were
don't know.
They were both like 371, 374. I
Isn't
think it
it
would have been
365 now with the new?
I wish I had it in front of me.
Yeah,
The dimensions.
I know. Yeah. Either way, the 2 from Kolek would not have been home runs at Kauffman Stadium, but they weren't playing at Kauffman last night. They were playing in Chicago. But I want to talk to Monty about that because I can't imagine how frustrating or nerve-wracking, I don't know, scary, intimidating that you're on the mound and you can't find your control, your command, and you're missing in the strike zone as well.
Salvi's was a home run, according to Baseball Savant, in Kauffman.
Bobby's?
Let me look at Bobby's.
Yeah, look at Bobby's because they were like they landed like 4 feet apart from each other. So I would guess that they both would have been home runs.
Correct. Both are gone. The only ones that are not a home run are Fenway, Coors, San Fran, not high enough, and then Washington.
Yeah, would have been doubles in San Francisco. But anyway.
So, yes, they're both gone in KC.
I want to see if you guys agree with this or not. And if you do, then why do you think it is? I came away from last night's game, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I wasn't really all that disappointed in the loss. It sucks that they lost, right? They're going to lose a lot of games this year in Major League Baseball. Even if you win 100, you lose 62. But I came away from the game thinking, I'm not really all that upset. And I have a number of reasons why that is. I'm just curious if you guys, do you come away frustrated? Because I saw some people that were like, oh, this is a frustrating loss. And I was like, I don't know that it is. It's frustrating that the Chicago White Sox, but they are also a team that's ahead of you in the standings right now. So were you frustrated last night? Am I just missing the boat on coming away from that game going, you know what, not really all that rough of a loss in my estimation? And I have my reasons why, but I'm just curious if you agree, disagree, and what those reasons might be.
Overall, yes, it's frustrating when one of your best relievers gives up a home run to a dude named Derek Hill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What if he gives up a home run to somebody named something different? Is it less frustrating?
A little bit, yeah. If it's Mike Trout, I'm going to say, yeah, Mike Trout gets you there. Stephen Kolek, I think it's frustrating because he's been so good and the opportunity was there. Mm-hmm. And maybe he was fighting command because the moment was understandably big of, hey, if I pitch well these next 2 starts, I might be the guy who stays up and not Noah Cameron. So is that the pressure that got to Stephen Kolek? Again, them with runners in scoring position, they went 2 of 9 yet again in this game, left a lot of guys on base. There's where my frustration lies. But overall, again, a little bit to your point, I wasn't mad that Kolek threw a strike to Chase Mydroth. End of the day, it's Chase Mydroth. That's his 3rd home run of the season. He's not a power hitter.
It was a wall scraper.
Would you rather walk him, or would you rather, give him a challenge pitch? We've been talking the whole time of give these guys challenge pitches, at least make them earn it. Mm-hmm. He earned it. Same thing with Strom. I'm frustrated because he's one of your better pitchers and give up a home run to, again, Derek Hill. But same time, it was a pretty good pitch. The hitters, the White Sox, they're getting paid too. It's a frustrating loss. Not as much. It's a frustrating loss, but I think you can at least see some of the process going. It's not a horrible process. This is just what happens in baseball. The other guys made plays.
Well, I would go as far to say that if you asked a chunk of this fan base, are you okay with any loss, they would say no. Because
right.
7-1, well, I'm frustrated because they weren't competitive. You lead 4-0 and you blow. Well, I'm frustrated because they blew the game. You lose 10-9. Well, I'm frustrated because they couldn't get outs when it mattered, right? So last night to me, they jumped out early. That's great.
Yeah.
It also was 2-0. Yeah. More often than not, when you have a spot starter on the mound, you're going to need more than 2 runs. They give up 5 in the 5th inning, and yes, that was an infuriating inning because it was 2-1. The home run comes to a 9-hole hitter in Romo. Then you got 2 outs after getting through Murakami, and you're facing Miguel Vargas, and you just leave a sweeper up a little bit too high in the zone. And Vargas has been great of late, and he pokes one there. But that's where, even if you're a spot starter, it's all right. Game's tied. The most important thing here is I got to get out of it, right? You're facing, before Mydroth, it was Montgomery. He walks Montgomery. Mm-hmm. And what we know about the White Sox is that they have an incredible home run rate. They also chase a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm looking to Lugo and Bubic's starts over these final 2, because those are 2 guys right now in the rotation next to Waka that can get ahead and get them to chase. Kolek was doing that in the first couple of innings, and then he was missing by a lot. It was not right there on the zone where you are going to get some of those guys to chase. And you credit hitters that are known for chasing, leaving those pitches away until a mistake was made. But also, the Royals came back right after that. I would say the only frustrating part to me, even more so than Strom, you get the leadoff single from Vinny in the 7th, Salvi singles after that, and you've got Carter, Jack, and Collins. You go strikeout, ground out. And that's where you go in games like that. After the White Sox desperately needed a shutdown inning after they took the lead 5-2, they didn't get it. That should then be the unraveling of, man, we missed our chance to bury the Royals, and now the Royals surge and they put up 2 or 3 in the 7th, and you coast the rest of the way. I'm not sold that the Royals would have scored in the 9th inning or the 10th inning, and even then they had burned Lynch, they had burned Strom, At that point, you're saving Ursig for a save situation, but there's no guarantee you get that. But it's one of those losses that, I mean, we can play the game of what counts as a frustrating loss. There's a lot of people that will always find something frustrating. This is a game that is irritating, but it's not going to matter if you go out and win tonight and win tomorrow. And honestly, these two pitchers you're throwing have a good chance of throwing well because they are strike throwers when they're on. That's how you minimize this White Sox offense is you get ahead, get them to chase. And I'm fascinated to know with Lugo and his 10 pitches tonight against a lot of young, inexperienced hitters that can get over anxious in tough spots.
So the reason I wasn't as frustrated last night is, the loss sucks, right? But you did have your 7th starter on the mound who you're hoping will continue to pitch the way that he did to end the season and in the start that he had this year. But it's a good point, Sterling, that you brought up of maybe understanding that I've got 2 starts that are kind of an audition to stay in the rotation. And through 4 innings, he was taking care of business. And that pitch to Murakami for the 3rd strike was just beautiful. And I'm like, he's going to get out of this. That's awesome.
Yep.
He couldn't, though, and he left one there to chase Mydroth. It was a pitch away. Mydroth, tips the ball, fouls it off with 2 strikes. The final 4 pitches for Kolek were probably the ones that he would like to have back because he was up 1-2, and then 2 non-competitive pitches that were clearly out of the strike zone.
Correct.
That Mydroth on one of them looked like he wanted to pull the trigger, but it was so far out of the strike zone that he's like, oh, no, I can't even think about swinging at that. Then fouls off the one that was close. Then you hung one, and it's a home run. That's unfortunate. It's rough. The other run came on the tip of the cap to the other team when Strom throws the slider. It's below the strike zone. The guy goes down and gets it. Strom probably wanted it a little further outside, but
even inside on the hands. Who knows?
Either one of them was probably not over the heart of the plate. That was low. Those things happen. The reason why I was less frustrated is we've talked about the process of the Royals, and while there has been some real annoyances, because I don't want to keep using the word frustrating, but real annoyances that they're not coming through with runners in scoring position. And it's like, yeah, but the process is there. They're taking more pitches. They're taking walks. They're swinging, and exit velocity is better. They're squaring up more baseballs. They're barreling more baseballs. They're getting deeper into counts. These are things that the process should then result in things working in their favor. And they continued that last night. Nick Lofton came through in a big spot.
Dude,
and I don't know about you guys, but when he walked up to the plate, I told my son, I'm like, he's going to come through here. There's something about Nick Lofton coming up right now, and credit him, by the way, and we can talk about a whole segment about what Nick Lofton has done in carving out a role on this team from being what I felt was a 4A player to now being a major league player that has a true role on a team that can win a division. It's not just he's got a role on a team like De Jesus, who's a fine player, good player. And some of those players, Emil Brown had a role on a team that was going to lose, 110 games. He's got a role.
Joey Gathright.
Yes. Nick Lofton has a role on a team that can win a division the way he's playing right now. Playing in the dirt, he can play in the outfield and pinch hitting the way that he is late in games. And I think he's now 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 in specific pinch hit situations on the season.
Well, and again, he's doing what Lane Thomas is doing, which is hitting lefties well. He's OPS 983 against lefties.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good for a guy coming off the bench. And what have we been complaining about so often this year is not necessarily 2, but I'm going to throw 2 into this one as well, 2, 3, 4 in the lineup that hadn't been coming through early in the season, that it was, Bobby early on was struggling, and now he's, again, Josh Gibson. Vinny and Salvi have been bad. Last night, those guys go 6 for 14, 2 home runs. They have a walk and a strikeout. The only strikeout was Bobby, which is probably the surprising part of it, the way that he's seeing the baseball right now. Those guys came through. Carter had a brilliant at-bat that started the 3-run inning, and a great challenge by less than a tenth of an inch. And I don't know if Kaggs is the unluckiest person on balls that are hit 110 miles an hour to the outfield that are magnets to right where the defender is lined up. How many line drives has Kaggs hit right at somebody? I mean, that's just stupid hitting, by the way.
2 last night.
They've got a guy there. Why would you hit it right at him? But it's 1st and 3rd with 2 outs in the 3rd inning and 114.5 off the bat. The expected batting average of that baseball with the exit velocity and launch angle is 750. Meaning anywhere but right at that guy, it's either a single that scores a run or If it's 15 feet one way or another, it's a double. That with 2 outs, Vinny's running. I don't know that Vinny gets home or not. The fences are a little shorter there.
And when you hit it that hard,
when you hit it that hard, you know the guy's not going to take a J route or an L route to it. He's going to go cut it off and run straight to the wall.
Ball's bouncing back to you.
I'm going to say only 1 run.
Yes, agreed.
And then in the 6th inning, they ended up getting 3 runs there in the 6th, but it was Carter at first, nobody out, and he hits the ball 109 to center field with an exit velocity or an expected batting average of 740. Carter's walk, Cags hitting the ball hard. Collins came through with a big, double to left field, or I guess, no, that was a double.
Yeah, it was a double.
Yeah, he got to second. Michael coming through in a big spot. Bobby playing like he is. I thought up and down the lineup, the approach was fine. They didn't come through. Those things happen. I think the added frustration, Jack, Sterling, whoever, is because we have seen it so often this year. If this was a game that happened in the first week of the season or so, it'd be like, you know what? They're seeing the pitches. Cags is hitting the ball hard. Carter took a walk. Bobby, Vinny, Salvi came through. Michael with the 2-out single. Nick Lofton, boy, that's a nice pinch hit for him coming through. Collins, with a double, a big spot that could have been a Mydroth home run, but it wasn't. I feel pretty good about what you saw last night, and you don't expect Strom to give up the home run there in that spot because he's typically pretty good. Avila looked good. Daniel Lynch goes out there and then gets back on track with a scoreless inning. Like all of those things, it's like, yeah, you lost the game. It sucks. But so many of the things that they did last night, to me, are way more translatable to wins than a random loss on a Tuesday in the middle of May. And that's where I come away with less frustration of last night.
Yeah, and I get that. Again, that's why I think part of it's the White Sox.
Yeah.
When it's the White Sox,
I get it.
who were not supposed to be good, that's going to add a level, even though they've been solid this year. They've arrived a year too early. I loved Garcia's swing later on, that one that he punched to right. He keeps his
so flat through the zone.
bat in the lineup so long. I think it was great seeing Salvi. I don't know if there's a takeaway of him getting 2 full days off, right? The off day, and then him sitting a day, and then he comes through. When he goes to right field, that's when I feel like he's really on. I don't always love when announcers are like, yeah, hit the ball to the right. It's going to watch the ball travel. I'm like, no, I don't want Cags to do that because that means he's slapping it. I want to see him pull it. I want some. But for
hold in the air.
For Salvi, with the year he hit, what was it, 48? Was 48 home runs? How many did he hit to opposite field? I mean, when he went into the home run derby, when he is on, it does feel like he does hit a lot of balls to right field. But
last night, to me specifically, was how many pitches low and away that he just took.
He took so many.
Yeah.
But he also hit a home run to right, and then hit a really good at bat to right field over the first baseman's head. I thought that was the best Salvi's looked at the plate. And again,
it's also the last base runner for the Royals was that Salvi hit.
Do you also say, is it because his bat speed's down because he's older, or you're just saying here, maybe he's seeing the ball well? Because I think he's seeing the ball well yesterday.
Yeah.
It really does feel like the first time this season, and it's been this way the last week or so. And think about it this way. On Saturday after the game, the Royals were a half game out of first place. Everybody's going, I feel great about this team.
Yeah.
You can't keep going back and forth of like, well, this team sucks and they need to do something. Oh, actually, I'm about back. No, just pick one lane or the other. You can be emotional. Yeah, you can be emotional about
I'm an emotional man, Jack.
But, yeah, if you want to stay optimistic, stay optimistic. You want to be negative, stay negative. To me, though, I look at this offense now and I go, okay, if you were to ask somebody who is really mad about last night, what's your solution? What do you want to do? Well, Bobby's playing at MVP level. Michael's been fine. Vinny is now over 200.
Yeah.
Salvador Perez, he homered last night. He's, I think 199 or 200 something. 197. So he was at 140 about 3 weeks ago.
That's right.
Carter is going through a little bit of what you would call a sophomore slump.
But he gets on base 2 out of 4 times last night.
Yes, and so you're not going to blame him. Caglione, he had maybe not at the box score a great night. Some bad luck there involved. And he's also not been really slumping of late. He's kind of had some ups and downs. Isaac Collins was incredibly hot last week. He also doubled last night.
Yeah.
You can maybe be mad at Michael Massey. Second base is a platoon option right now for the Royals. Same goes for center field. You're not looking at this lineup and going, you got to change something if you want to start winning. Nobody from AAA is coming up, and they're going to solve the issues they have. Because honestly, first couple of weeks you said, yeah, they can't hit Salvi fourth. Yeah, they're going to need to do something about Lane Thomas. Yeah, they're going to need to do something about Vinny Pasquantino. It's one of those situations where you go, no, these guys just have to play through it. You're going to have slumps, and you're hoping that when Carter and Jack, young players in their sophomore season, go through a slump, Vinny and Salvi can pick them up. Vice versa, too. When Salvi and Vinny are slumping, as we saw, Cags and Jensen pick them up a little bit. I look at the starting rotation and I go, that's the Royals calling card. That has to be better to solve these road struggles. Like, you cannot, even though Kolek is a spot starter, like now Seth Lugo, who's looked iffy his last 3 or 4 starts, you got to go out tonight and be vintage Seth Lugo. Chris Bubich, you got to be vintage Chris Bubich, because that's how they're going to right the ship here, is being able to rely on those guys to go 6 innings, give a quality start. Because you put more stress on the bullpen, we know who this bullpen is. They're going to be streaky. They're going to be inconsistent. They don't have the lights-out stuff other than really Lucas Erceg to dominate hitters. Matt Strahm, 3 years ago, that pitch is a rollover to third base. That's just what it is, because his slider's 92, where now his fastball is 92.
Yeah.
He relies on pinpoint location. It wasn't a bad spot, but that's what happens when you don't have overpowering stuff. Last night, if Stephen Kolek gives you 5 innings of 1-run ball, they probably win that game, right? So I look more so at the starting rotation, where they got to, pull themselves up by the bootstraps and go, we are the best attribute of this team. We got to take stress off the others.
Yeah, it's like, you put a lot on Patrick Mahomes' plate on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays or Fridays or Saturdays. Wednesdays last year. So pretty much every day of the week, but Tuesday, you put a lot on Patrick Mahomes' shoulders, but also heavy is the head. He's, 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, the best quarterback in the league. There is a lot asked of you. And if he goes out and has a bad game, which he's entitled to having a bad game from time to time, there was a part of it that goes, yeah, but the reason they're really good is because he's really good. And so if he's not all that good, yes, you would like other guys to come through, but for that team to be a Super Bowl team, it is reliant upon and predicated on Mahomes being one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the NFL. This team this year, if they're going to win a division, they're not going to slug their way to a Central. They're going to starting pitch and bullpen and score enough to win a Central. So to Jack's point, the starting staff getting back on track is as, if not more vital than those guys that were 2, 3, 4 starting to hit like we know they can hit. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk some football on the other side of the break. No international game for the Chiefs or Royals. Although I wouldn't mind seeing the Royals in the Japan series. That'd be fun. But no international game for the Chiefs. They will play a home game against the Broncos. We'll talk about that. And there is an update and a lot more information on Ahmad Hardy. And we'll see if he plays this year. Not the most important thing right now, but he did offer a question in the hospital that sort of makes you think that if he plays this year, what's one of those things, I'll take it. But hopefully it's a full return to playing football so that he can realize how good he can be and get to the NFL and do some of those things as well. More Zone coming up next. Man, intimacy is a big deal in relationships, and if you have suffered from erectile dysfunction, then it's something that you need to go and get checked out. Maybe it happened once or twice, you laughed it off, as we heard, that sort of happens, but this is something that can be caused by many different underlying conditions that in that happening can cause other things in your life. Heartland Men's Health can help you and get the next steps to figuring out what's going on. Maybe you've tried the pills or the herbals and they have failed. Well, Heartland Men's Health has treatments that work when that happens. In fact, treatments with success rates well over 90%. They have been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. Here's what you do. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit, it's only $99. That includes that medical consult, though, with a licensed medical provider, the T and PSA test, and if medically advised, you get a test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit's free. You don't pay a dime. If it does, well, there you go. You're on the way to figuring out what's going on. They have an expert staff with 3 locations to serve you. Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, and Jason sent you. 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. Royals, White Sox, 2 games left. I thought it was sneaky smart by the Royals to lose the first game of the series so that when they win the series, we'll feel great about it. That they would win the last 2 games of the series.
Smart.
Instead of winning the first 2 and then losing the third, and we're like, this is dumb. This sucks. Why do you keep doing this? You had a chance to sweep and you lost? Well, you get that out of the way early with the chance to sweep. That's gone. Now you go out there with Lugo and Bubic, and you go out there and win these games, and you head to St. Louis feeling great, winning a series there, back-to-back series wins, and then that would be, 4 consecutive non-series losses? It's like the hockey or soccer. They have a non-losing streak of 10 consecutive games. You can tie or win.
This is America. You win or lose. We don't do non-losing streaks.
They tied the Guardians in the 4-game series. So the Chiefs will start the season at home on Monday Night Football. We talked about it yesterday. I preferred the home date for the Chiefs because my feeling around it was if Mahomes is not playing, then what's the best way to get a win against the Broncos? It would be Monday night, week 1, the crowd the way that it is, and there is the unknown of Fields and Walker in the backfield together as to how Andy Reid would implement that against the Broncos defense that has the secondary that's awesome and the pass rush that's amazing. And how do you mitigate that? Well, if you just run right at them, I don't know if heavy personnel because they don't have a blocking tight end on this team right now, so I'm not sure how they would go heavy personnel. Specifically, Kelsey, obviously we've talked about, gets a bad rap for being a quote-unquote bad blocker when he's actually pretty good. He's just not a blocking tight end. They don't have that. So playing at home in that game was a result that I would have liked. I understood if you go to Denver and you lose that game, you get it out of the way, and you might have lost that game anyway. I do expect Patrick Mahomes to play the first game. I don't expect him to be limited in any way, shape, or form. Because if he's limited, he won't play in that game, which is the absurdity of some people saying, well, of course the NFL gives the Chiefs Monday Night Football. They're going to do everything they can to give Patrick Mahomes as much time to return for week 1. And I'm like, do you understand how stupid you are? You really think the Chiefs were going to say he couldn't play on Sunday? But it's a Monday night game. We've cleared him. Between Sunday at noon and Monday night, he was cleared to play. If he could play Monday, he would play Sunday, you dumbass. But it's a home game for the Chiefs. I think it's beneficial for both teams, for the Chiefs and the Broncos. Chiefs at home beneficial in the unknown of Mahomes and the crowd behind you, and hopefully coming out and getting a win in week 1. The best chance of beating the Broncos in week 1 is obviously at home, not on the road. And for the Broncos, you go to Kansas City in early September instead of December. And I know they're not a warm weather team, but late December with divisional impact on the line, it feels much more of an impactful loss. If it's like, wow, this is a 1 game, you got a 1-game lead, you lose this one, you don't have the tiebreaker, and it's a big game, you lose that one, well, that sucks. Week 1, you can get past it pretty quickly. So I think it's beneficial for the Broncos that they get an early game in Arrowhead and not a late, crazy December crowd where the Chiefs may be heading towards winning a division. I think it's beneficial for both. I don't think the NFL looked at it that way, but I look at it that way. It's beneficial, and I don't care about the Broncos fans crying about what they quote-unquote deserved in this one.
Yeah, again, the crowd must be too loud or something. They need to call a timeout or they're going to get a penalty.
That's only John Elway.
Yeah.
Bo Nix hasn't done that yet.
That's all Broncos fans. I think the Broncos should be happy. I think for the point you brought up, week 1 is more of a wild card situation. I hate playing divisional opponents week 1.
That's the biggest beef that I have. You and I talked about that.
Yeah,
I hate it too.
I think it's too much on the line week 1. Play the Jets week 1, play an NFC opponent week 1. I'm cool with that. I get it. It's not always going to be that. But
you're cool with it, and I'll watch from the corner.
But, I don't get the Broncos beef. I don't. I don't think any team deserves a home game. I don't think it really matters. Hell, the Bills built a new stadium. Now, maybe it's because the stadium won't be ready, but
their first game is on the road.
It's on the road. Like,
that's a great point, dude. The Bills have been waiting to open up the stadium for 5 years, and they got to wait an extra week to do it.
Yeah, so sorry, Broncos. Sorry, Denver.
God, that's a great point. That's maybe the best point you've ever made on the show. Good for you. You're going to get a helmet sticker for that.
Awesome.
Once we get the helmets.
I have the stickers.
I know. I said once we get the helmet. Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't have been disappointed if the Chiefs opened on the road. I mean, it would have been an incredibly tough environment. Of course, it's always going to be.
Yeah,
they're used to it.
Opening on the road.
But wouldn't you want to have that game in your back pocket of win or lose? Like, if the Chiefs win that first game, nobody in Kansas City should be saying, well, now it's running through Kansas City again, right? You have a long ways to go where we'll see, tomorrow night, or maybe it's going to be leaked at some point later on today, when that game in Denver is going to happen.
It might be the Netflix Christmas Day game that could be released today at 1 o'clock.
And that's why I go, well, number one, we all know that the only team that gets to host week 1 is the reigning Super Bowl champion. And what's the stat of, even after the Chiefs got to the Super Bowl, what their week 1 game was? I mean, last year they got to the Super Bowl, opened up in Brazil. Not sure they were that thrilled about that.
And it was also a road game for them because it was a Chargers home game.
Yeah, and to me, if you're really worrying about your week 1 opponent or where that game is being played, kind of believe you're worrying about the wrong thing, to be honest with you. We all know that week 1, whether you win or lose, you can talk yourself out of it. You lose week 1 like the Chiefs did against the Lions on banner night. It's like everybody said, okay, it's the first week, and it's against the team that's pretty damn good and is going to be good this season. If you're in Denver, you're probably a little bit irritated because opening up the season at Arrowhead against a revamped Chiefs team, Patrick Holmes coming back, it's going to be warm weather. You're not feeling great about it, but also if you are considering yourself to be the new king, you're the one now that has to be dethroned. Well, then you shouldn't be that scared about where you're playing the Chiefs.
And it's almost like it's house money isn't the right word, but the pressure to me in week 1 is on the Chiefs. Because if you lose at home to Denver,
100%.
You then are a game behind the Broncos, and the only game left you have, you got to go to Mile High to beat them. And that ain't easy to do, and especially with the team that, has figured it out in Denver. And you lose that game last year. Many opportunities to win that game. You did not, and that's what's left. And that's where I think from the Denver standpoint, you come to Kansas City and you win that game, you have set yourself up for a huge advantage the rest of the way because you've got a bunch of home games remaining because you got a road game out of the way. So now you've got 8 and 8. You got 8 home games and 8 road games the rest of the way, and you're 1-0. And if the Chiefs lose, they're 0-1 with 7 home games and 9 road games left. That's a tough spot for the Chiefs to be in when they're trying to rebound from what happened last year and feeling like it's time to get back atop the AFC. It would be an interesting week around Kansas City getting ready for whoever they're going to play in week 2 if they lose that game on Monday night to the Denver Broncos.
I just don't understand I don't think it's a big deal either way. I really don't. I think the biggest, takeaway, you and I are the same. It's an AFC West opponent week 1, and it's not the Raiders. If it was the Raiders, you feel a little different about it, I think, because it's the Raiders and you don't expect them to be good.
The understandable beef that I think the Broncos fans would have is, okay, maybe you're not annoyed by going to Kansas City in week 1.
But the Chiefs are carrying.
But if the Chiefs and Broncos was going to be a Monday night football game, then, hey, do the Broncos, quote-unquote, deserve at some point in the season? Maybe not week 1 deserve, but hey, we won the division, we beat them twice. If there's a Broncos-Chiefs Monday night game, that should be in Denver, as opposed to the Broncos-Chiefs Monday night game is in Arrowhead. I doubt both the games will be Monday night between Chiefs and Broncos, although it wouldn't be crazy to think about that because, again, those should be 2 really good games.
No, you're right. That's the only beef is, it should be in Denver for Monday night because they get the love. The city gets a little extra love when it's Monday Night Football. I get that, but we talked about it. The Chiefs are still the big draw.
Yes.
Sorry, I know Denver, it's frustrating because you were the champions. You nearly made it to the AFC Championship game, but Bo Nix is not the same.
Well, they made it to the championship game. They didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
Sorry, yeah. Bo
They
Nix
scored 7 points in the game, though.
Bo Nix is not the same as Patrick. The Broncos' defense is great, but the biggest name is still Chris Jones. The Chiefs have the 3 biggest names still on their roster. Chris, Travis, and Patrick, obviously. The Chiefs struggled to get, I feel like, these big-time games, especially at home, when they had Alex Smith. They were winning the AFC West. They had good teams. But the corpse of Peyton Manning, Frankenstein together was, I mean, you can go back to then and say Denver still had the bigger draw when Peyton Manning's
and Von Miller
and Von Miller. I mean, like,
yes, they were the bigger draw in 14 and 15, 100%.
But even if the Chiefs had a better record, I mean, we can still agree and understand these things. I don't know. It feels like Denver has amnesia, and I get it. Sometimes you're living in the moment. It's hard to realize the past of, even if it was a few years ago, what it was like going through that. But I think they should be able to understand it because they did get the benefit back then. The Bengals get the benefit even when they're a bad team because they have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Big-time players get extra games, primetime games, fair or not, for their team. It's not always about record.
Yeah. I would go as far to say that there might be next to zero pressure on Denver for this game because, Kansas City is the one coming off of a 6-11 season. They are coming off a year in which Patrick Mahomes missed the final couple of games. They went out there and they signed Kenneth Walker. They had a top 10 pick. Denver was in the AFC Championship game, and they had the best built-in excuse that every fan base, if you do lose in the AFC title game, you want. You either say, A, we didn't even have our starting quarterback for that game, and it was damn close, or B, you got screwed over by some rigged call, like what the Saints were able to do with the Rams in that NFC Championship game. Like one perfect built-in excuse. Like Denver loses this game, I'm not sure anybody's going, well, now they actually suck. What they're going to say is, oh, the Chiefs appear to be good again. It's really hard to go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs in prime time. Whereas if the Chiefs lose this game, now you're starting to question, whether that game is close or not. Man, is this Chiefs team actually not stacked up as well against Denver as they have in previous seasons? I mean, there is so much more pressure on Kansas City in this spot with the game being at Arrowhead in week 1 than it would have been if it was Mile High. If it was Mile High, the Chiefs would have been able to say, it's Mile High.
If they lost the game, that's probably going to happen whatever week it is.
Mahomes, I'm in lockstep with you that I believe if he's playing, he's 100%. There's no limitations. But you could also say, hey, it's the first game. It's hard to win at Mile High. We at least have this game in our back pocket. You lose this game, you're now staring down the barrel of getting swept for the second consecutive season by your biggest division rival.
Would be like, I'll draw a comparison in college football. I know Kleiman isn't K-State anymore, but last year it's like, okay, Chris Kleiman dominates KU. Why can he not beat Iowa State? Does Iowa State just simply have their number in that matchup? And the Iowa State head coach is now escaping me right now.
He went to Penn State.
Yeah, what was it?
Matt Campbell.
Matt Campbell, yes. Matt Campbell just has Chris Kleiman's number, and Iowa State and K-State are peers in terms of football, and you look at that rival and say, why do you keep losing to that team? But if they lose to the Broncos at home, I think you can make a real strong case of, okay, they had that awesome blocked field goal, but does Sean Payton and the Broncos, do they have the Chiefs' number in knowing how to beat this team? I know that a couple of those games were without Patrick Mahomes, but what we would be saying is Mahomes lost in Denver, Mahomes lost week 1 in 2026, and Mahomes survived with a blocked field goal with Leo Chenal from losing that game at home as well. Have Sean Payton and the Broncos defense figured out the Chiefs, and is that something they have to worry about now moving forward? I think that would be a legit conversation, just as is Chris Kleiman somebody that just can't ever beat Matt Campbell.
And now Kleiman goes, oh my gosh, I should have stayed. He's gone. He's gone. The Witch of the West is gone.
It wasn't NIL. It was Campbell that I was wanting to get out of football for.
Well, it was also 2 years ago, and hey, you can like or dislike Sean Payton, but when they played, wasn't it Buffalo? He said, well, we felt great about our next matchup, which would have been Kansas City at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to say something like that to a team that's won 3 Super Bowls and then continue to beat them, clearly you've got the momentum and the swagger, and everybody would then love playing for you. But that's why, I mean, I've never seen really in my lifetime so much stock being put into week one of where that game's being played. It's also another thing. Now, I guess it'd be different because we know who the home and road matchups are. So if the Chiefs played somebody and they were, not seeing them twice in the season, we go, well, we knew that game was going to be at home. But it's like, you do see this team again. And you will then have multiple weeks to really see what's needed in that game. If that builds a division lead, if your season is lost at that point, we're not going to know a lot about either of these teams after the first game. But for the narrative of how last season went, Denver could lose this game, and everybody in the national media would say they're fine.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs, we know they're going to be better than 6-11, but I'm not sure even the national media would say, well, the Chiefs are completely back, because you'd say you got to play your first game in primetime at Arrowhead in good weather.
Well, we know what the conversation will be coming out of that game. If the Chiefs lose, they're toast, they're done, and it's over. If the Chiefs win, it was only because the NFL wants to get the Chiefs back up to the top of the league again, and the refs helped them win. Those are your two stories coming out of Monday Night Football. I've already figured it out. That's obvious. I know what Tuesday's commentary is going to be on September 14th.
Be a controversial call as well at some point in the game, whether it's the first quarter or the fourth.
Yes, or September 15th, whenever that is, because Monday Night Football is September 14th. So September 15th, I can tell you what the conversation is. Chiefs are toast, they're done, the dynasty's over because they're 0-1 again. Or, well, of course the Chiefs found a way to get that game and the refs helped them out. In name any call that may have gone the Chiefs' favor in 4 quarters of play. That's the reason. Jack, you're the man. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. Monty's coming up in the 11 o'clock hour, and we'll talk some more Denver Broncos coming up at noon with from Locked On Broncos podcast, Sayer Bettinger at noon. Mick Schaefer, 1 o'clock. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Let's talk some Royals baseball. Jeff Montgomery joining us here in the zone on a Wednesday. Monty, how are you, sir?
Doing great today. Jason, looking forward to another, hopefully, Royal streak getting going here tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. Hopefully it gets started tonight. And you know what? I joked about this in the first hour, Monty. You know, the lamenting of losing the last game of a series but still winning a series. The Royals went ahead and flipped the script last night and said, hey, if you win the series, people will feel better about it. Winning 2 of 3, but you win the second 2 of the 3. You feel much better than winning the first 2 and losing the third, right? I mean, it's just smart baseball by the Royals to me.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we look at it a little differently. I think as fans and as media than players, I mean, players are so focused on the daily game. I mean, they got to, you know, do so much to get ready for a game. But there's always that momentum factor. We've talked about it before, how you just feel really good about yourself coming off of a win as opposed to coming off a loss.
What did you see last night from Stephen Kolek? He was a pitch away from 7 consecutive quality starts to begin his career with the Royals. What did you see from Stephen Kolek in what ended up being a really rough 5th inning?
Yeah, I think, you know, command. I mean, he misses some pitches very close. I like the way he pitches inside a lot. He missed with some pitches that hurt him. And I think really, in general, when you look at fastball command, any pitcher is going to command his fastballs to have a chance to have success. And I really like, you know, the way he's able to do that. But just a little bit of the command issues got away from him last night.
What is it like then as a pitcher on the mound when you are fighting command like that? And, you know, you don't want to, you know, keep everything outside of the strike zone, but if you try to be too fine in the strike zone and you miss, well, now you're getting hit pretty hard. What's that like on the mound when you sort of know you're searching for it?
Well, I think for a pitcher, at least I know from my experience, it's always important to trust your stuff. It's always important to believe in yourself and to allow yourself to throw strikes. And I think oftentimes pitchers give hitters a little too much credit as far as, you know, having to be too fine, especially when they're pitching in even counts. The first pitch strikes are so important. And then if you get ahead, I mean, then you can expand a little bit. But I really feel like pitchers, even pitchers who are not flamethrowers, you know, guys who are in the, you know, low 90s as opposed to mid to upper 90s, they can really be successful, particularly, you know, getting ahead, trusting their stuff. But fastball command is really kind of where it all starts. And regardless of your velocity, finding ways to get in pitchers' counts, to me, is really important. And we saw Kolek working behind a lot last night.
Yeah, and it seemed like, you know, he was working behind. He was able to get himself out of some of those innings, too. And it really felt like he was – I really thought he was going to get out of that 5th and only give up the 2 runs. And like, all right, well, you know what? The guy went, the guy went 6 innings or 5 innings. Well, yeah, I guess it would have been whatever that inning was. Geez, it runs together now last night. But regardless, I thought he would get out of that and find a way to limit the damage. And we would go, you know what, that's your 5th starter, or really starting the season, it was kind of your 7th starter. And what he's done in a couple of starts, you feel pretty good about it. The Royals did fight back, though, and I want to talk about that in a little bit, is just what they've done this year. But what do you make of Stephen Kolek in the 3 years in the big leagues and being a starter? He's gone from a ground ball percentage of 56%. Last year with the Royals was down to 52%. And so far in the 2 games, it's sitting at 42%. So from 56% to 42% ground ball rate, which with him, it's usually command and keeping the ball on the ground. Is that the adjustment, the book being out on him, the stuff not playing as much? What do you see from Stephen Kolek, a command and ground ball guy, that the ground ball percentage is dropping?
Well, I think we're really even going back to spring training of this year. He made a concerted effort to rely heavily on his fastball, throw more fastballs, trust that fastball more. And I think when you throw a fastball, especially if you're going to pitch kind of in an upper part of the zone, you're going to get a lot more fly balls. So I think that's probably in the long run going to be really good for him because it's going to make his breaking balls that much better. But I think that's probably the big underlying factor for me with regards to him having more fly balls. Using that fastball more, you're just going to get more, especially the way they pitch so much up in the zone nowadays.
It's not a surprise, though, Monty, that we see the team fight back. I mean, they've done that a number of times. That's one of the traits of this team and really of Matt Quattro's teams, that they don't give in and they continue to try to put good at-bats together. It didn't work out last night, but it is something that I wonder from the other dugout. What does that do for a team in the other dugout when you know that those guys over there continue to fight back, continue to come back, continue to put runs on the board, and they're not going to make it easy in those last 3 innings?
Yeah, I think most teams kind of have that attitude where, you're never going to be out of a game. But to me, the real key is when you have a big game where you're down and you do come back and eventually pull off that win. I'll go back to, say 2 or 3 weeks ago. They were on that Sunday night game against the Angels. They were down big early. They ended up winning that baseball game. Then suddenly, that attitude as far as coming back, now you can believe in it a little stronger, knowing that you're able to kind of finish the deal. And last night, if you score 5 runs in a baseball game, you should win. And unfortunately, when Strong gave up the run there late, kind of did them in. But I kind of felt like once they came back, there's a good chance they're going to win that baseball game, because you're basically now bullpen versus bullpen, and there's a lot of inexperienced relievers out in the White Sox bullpen. So I really felt good about it. Unfortunately, Strom didn't get the job done.
Yeah, and it wasn't a terrible pitch. I mean, it was a couple inches below the strike zone on the slider. It was maybe too much in the middle, but still, it was a pitch that was down, and you give that guy credit. And then, of course, he goes out there and robs Bobby Witt in that diving play, too. Come on, how annoying is that guy? I don't even know much about him, but that guy is
well, I had a chance to visit with Derek Hill when White Sox were in town earlier. I played baseball with his father in the minor league, so he's got a pretty good pedigree for him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What a great game for him, for sure, getting the game winner. Although, his home run last night was the only home run that would be a home run at Kauffman out of all the home runs that were hit. But unfortunately, they were playing in Chicago in that one. I wanted to talk to you about Nick Lofton, who, coming up with the Royals and being around and the last few years, sort of the options and up and down and getting opportunities and kind of being a 4A player. I feel like Nick Lofton has been, in his career, what feels like that 4A player. But this year, I mean, he's really carved out a really nice role, and he went up last night, Monty, and I was fully confident he was going to come through. As the lack of confidence I have had so many times this year with the Royals with runners in scoring position, right now with Nick Lofton at the plate in a big moment, I feel like he's going to come through. And credit to him, Monty, he's really carved out a nice role, and he's taken advantage of the opportunities that are there. And I don't think he should go anywhere. And I'm hoping that he can continue to play to this level and really give the Royals something and Matt Quatraro something as a right-handed bat.
Yeah, and I really felt the same way when he came in to the opportunity for him and what we've seen him do here, especially over these last couple of weeks. But if you look at players, and when Nick Lofton was drafted out of Baylor, there was a lot of high hopes for him to be a really solid major league hitter. And he's put up numbers always in the minor leagues, but he's never had that great opportunity at the big league level where he gets a chance to play on a regular basis. And I think with the Jonathan India season-ending shoulder surgery, now you're going to be looking at 2 guys who are really going to be what you call role players, or are going to be more like everyday guys, Michael Massey and Nick Lofton. So you got kind of a nice rotation with the lefty-righty. If those guys can both stay healthy and produce, I think you've kind of solved your equation with regards to your second base situation. So, Nick Lofton, you can't say enough about what he's been able to do to establish himself, and it takes time for players. I mean, we see every player on different timetables for getting themselves to the big leagues and then solidifying their jobs in the big leagues. And oftentimes it's just a matter of opportunity, and seemingly now that opportunity has presented itself for Nick Lofton.
Yeah, he's coming in as a pinch hitter. He's 3 for 3 this year. And his on-base percentage is .750, so he's had the sacrifice fly. But he's come through. He's got the 3 RBIs, and I don't even know if that counts last night's game. I'm looking at Baseball Reference, but sometimes it takes a little bit the next morning to count in the night before. So with the 3 RBIs as a pinch hitter, maybe that one where he cleared the bases, I don't know if that was a pinch hitter. He might have been a pinch hitter earlier in the game and stayed in the game, but it's specifically – I'd like to see – Nick Lofton's numbers when he doesn't start the game. I need to find that as opposed to just being a pinch hitter in that one at bat. But still, when he's coming in that one at bat, he's been awesome being put into the game. Jeff Montgomery is our guest. Monty, I wanted to talk to you about Noah Cameron, and we got into a conversation on Monday on the show with Noah's struggles this year, and we talked about what happened from last year to this year in the arm angle going from 58 degrees down to 50 degrees. The pitch shapes are different. The fastball has, like 4 inches more run, another inch or two rise on the fastball. The changeup is dropping a couple of inches and tailing a little bit more, yet he's walking more guys. The fastball isn't faster than what it was a year ago. What are you seeing from Noah Cameron? And was that a concerted effort in the offseason to drop the arm angle, to do some different things with the pitch shape for him?
I don't know the exact answer to that, but if my guess would be no. I don't think you intentionally want to drop your arm angle because for a pitcher, the higher your arm angle, the better chance of success, and at least from my experience and in my opinion on that. The one factor to me, I can't get in Noah Cameron's body and feel what he's going through, but I know that missing a start with that back situation, that could potentially be the answer to a lot of it. I think the other thing is when you look at players who have success in a particular year, the first year, then there's some adjustments because now suddenly there's information available about what you do and how you attack hitters and things that the arsenal you possess. So I think a lot of it could just be the league kind of making their adjustments to what Noah Cameron was able to do last year. But whether it be the issue with his back or if it be the adjustment, now it's time for him to make some adjustments and get back to where he was last year as far as throwing strikes consistently, trusting his stuff, and finding ways to have those quick outs.
If his fastball is, running, 4 more inches on average than what it did a year ago, and it's rising another inch or two, so the stuff seems better than a year ago. Would that, whether that's intentional or it's to maybe compensate for the back or whatever it might be, does that then explain some of the walks and the command issue that maybe if his stuff is playing a little bit different, it may take a little bit of time for him to get used to when I release it here, that thing was a strike, and now there's 4 extra inches, and now it's ending up outside of the strike zone. And while the stuff is better, the command isn't necessarily matching that. Could that be an explanation of some of the walks and some of the misses and Noah Cameron saying after the game that I need to throw it more in the strike zone and let the stuff work instead of trying to be too fine. I'm going to have the catcher set up right over the middle of the plate and do some of those things. Is that going to take some time for a pitcher if that shape is all of a sudden different than what it's been through most of your career?
Well, if you're throwing a ball that's moving more, obviously you have to make some adjustment to allow it to finish, in the strike zone. Because if you're throwing it as a strike and it's finishing 4 inches off the plate, then there's a reason for that. So it's an adjustment that he makes. To me, having the success that he had last year, I really don't see much, if any, reason you want to make any adjustments at all. I mean, if you make the adjustments, it's because you're not successful, and he was certainly successful last year. And to come into this year with a concerted effort to make changes, I just don't know if I would want to be in that category as far as saying let's try to fix something that's not broken. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, if your ball's moving a lot more, that's a good thing. But you have to have the ability to command it. There's again that word command. We hear it so frequently, especially with regards to pitchers getting ahead with their fastball. But if you can't command your fastball in the zone, you're going to have some issues, and that's exactly what we're seeing with Noah. Yeah,
and I wonder if it's a little bit like Vinny last year. And I know Vinny struggled and has struggled to start the season this year, but I remember Vinny talking about last year that in the offseason from 2024 to 2025, he had put on more weight and more muscle and gotten stronger, but it resulted in his bat speed being like 2 miles an hour faster. It was an unintended consequence. He didn't go into the offseason saying, I want to increase my bat speed. It was like, I want to get stronger and be able to, hit the ball a little bit further, hit the ball harder. And he had talked about that in the first month last year, that some of those same swings he was putting on a ball in years past were now tanks foul to the right side. He's like, well, that does me no good. It took him a little bit to adjust to how fast his bat speed was a year ago, and then he looked like Vinny Pasquantino. And I wonder if that's all it is for Noah Cameron, that, if the shape is doing this, and maybe he did make a concerted effort to have more stuff and have those things work better, but it's just going to take a little time for him to figure out the command and the touch and the feel that he has on some of those, because he is a guy that can command it. And so I would guess that even if the pitch shape is a little different, that he'll find it and be able to command it eventually. But it reminds me a little bit of Vinny last year, that maybe there was an unintended consequence of doing something else that resulted in some struggles early on until you get used to what that new thing is.
Yeah, and I think we see that a lot with players, especially players who maybe don't have a long resume. But players who have been around for a long time, they know exactly what it takes to get ready for a year. They've had success. They just rely on, the experience they have to continue to essentially replicate what they do to get ready for the next season. And they know that that's not going to be too much. It's not going to be too little. They're in a sweet spot, and that's the reason our experienced Major League veterans have had success over a long period of time, because they know exactly what it takes for themselves to click.
Jeff Montgomery is our guest. Seth Lugo goes to the mound tonight. I love watching Seth Lugo pitch. He seemed a little frustrated after his last outing of not getting some of those borderline strikes, not getting the corners, maybe some challenges early that weren't called, or a challenge that was called. This is totally anecdotal, Monty, but it feels to me that in the first inning, if Lugo's getting some of those borderline strikes, I think he just sort of mentally gets in a groove and just gets into his game. But I've seen it a couple times where he doesn't get those borderline calls in the first inning, and the first couple of innings of the game is when he typically gives up some runs. Is that maybe common for a pitcher? Is it something you've seen from Seth Lugo, or is it just anecdotal for me? I've seen that happen a couple of times, and I think, well, this must be something that's happening more frequently.
Well, I think when you watch Seth Lugo pitch, first he works very quick, so you don't have a lot of time in between to see a lot of the the facial expressions or the the movements he makes behind the mound, whatever. So he's really he's on the attack, but you can tell when he's landing his pitches. If he's landing that curveball, you know that he's feeling really good about himself. And there are just certain days or games when you go out there and everything just seems to go right exactly where you want it. And then there are games when it takes an inning or two to kind of figure out, what pitch is working best and what adjustments you need to make. But I took kind of maybe what you did from his comments after his last game when he said he wished he would have had a couple of those challenges available, on some of the pitches he felt were borderline he didn't get, because it can be frustrating if you're out there executing pitches that you feel like are in a location where you want them to be, you're not getting a call. And now with the technology available to get those, with the ABS, you would like to have that in your back pocket, able to use it. But you could tell he was frustrated that he didn't have that last game.
Jeff Montgomery is our guest. Monty, as always, appreciate the time, brother. Enjoy the final 5 games of this road trip, and then next week we'll talk while the Royals are in the middle of a 3-game set and a homestand against the Red Sox, and then the Mariners, and then the Yankees, a longer extended homestand when they return home on Monday. Thank you, Monty. Appreciate it as always, brother.
You got to have a great one, Jason.
You do the same. There is Jeff Montgomery hanging out with us on this Wednesday edition of the show, and we'll see tonight. Seth Lugo goes to the mound. He's had a rough run, 2 of his last 3 outings, 4 innings and 4 runs that he gave up against Cleveland in that game that we're talking about, where he was frustrated there in the first inning, and also had that game against the Angels that we've discussed a couple of times, where he ended up going into the 7th inning, giving up 7 earned runs, but battling and staying in there with 15 base runners on base constantly in that game, and still able to protect the bullpen to a degree. And so we'll see what Seth Lugo does tonight. Hopefully early on, he's getting those corners and those edges of the strike zone pitches that are strikes. I'm not asking for him to get pitches that are outside the strike zone as strikes, and I don't even know that Seth Lugo was doing that. It's just a couple of those pitches that in his previous outing early on against Cleveland, there were a couple that were in the strike zone that weren't challenged, and those things happen. But I would wonder if Salvi's going to be behind the plate tonight. He was behind the plate last night, looked good. The offense came through for a good portion of the game. Would have liked that first and second, nobody out in the, was that the 7th inning last night? Where they ended up having the strikeout line out after they got, it was the top of the 7th when Vinny and Salvi both singled. You had first and second, nobody out, strikeout, ground out. That's what it was. Carter and Jack struck out, and then Isaac Collins grounded out. And that was a huge missed opportunity because the 6th inning, they had just put that 3-run rally together to tie the game, and then you get 2 on, nobody out, and they didn't take advantage of that. And that ended up being the last base runner. Yeah, it was, because you had Lofton, Isbell, and Garcia in the 8th, and then Bobby, Vinny, Salvi in the 9th, and nobody got on. So the last base runner for the Royals was that 7th inning with Salvi single to right field, and the Royals couldn't come through there. But I thought offensively they were fine last night, and more of that will result in more runs and will result in more wins. And I feel pretty confident over these next couple of games the Royals will find a way to win this series. We'll see. Hopefully that is the case. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling more zone, hanging out with Sterling, hanging out with Michael Darcia. We will talk some Chiefs football, some Broncos football coming up at noon. Sayer Bettinger, Locked on Broncos podcast, and covers Denver. And we'll talk a little bit about what has been fun is one way to describe it, conversation between Chiefs fans and Broncos fans in the last 24 hours or so. More zone coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you to Jeff Montgomery joining us. Interesting stuff there talking about Noah Cameron. Because Monty thinking that, did he do it on purpose in the offseason of changing the arm angle? He also brought up the possibility of overcompensating for maybe protecting the back. If the back has been something that has been bothering him for a while, that maybe the arm ankle helps there. But it's right now, I would wonder until maybe Noah Cameron's asked about it specifically, about dropping from 58 degrees to 50 degrees, and the pitch shape with the 4 inches of run on the fastball and another inch or two rise on the fastball. The changeup is dropping more, has more tail than it did, the last, couple of years for Noah Cameron. And if that was something they intended to happen, did the arm angle change, was that specific to then add more stuff to your resume, to your repertoire, but then was an unintended consequence of, well, now I have less idea of how to command these pitches because they have more movement than they've ever had before.
Besides the slider. The slider's been bad. So basically...
just stop throwing that one. But Noah Cameron, we also heard him, Sterling, after the game on Sunday, say, well, I'll probably I need to have the catchers set up right in the middle of the plate and just try not to hit the corners, let my stuff do more of the work. And I wonder if that is an adjustment of, I'm trying to pitch to the corners like I did before. Now they're strike to balls because there's more movement and action and stuff with that. I need to now just throw more to the middle of the plate and let the movement and the grip and in the changeup lack of velo, or maybe the fastball some added velo, let that do the work for me instead of trying to pinpoint those specific pitches.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Something has to change. I mean, again, I've mentioned it. The slider has gone from
bad to brutal.
Went from really good. I mean, we saw his breaking balls last year.
Like this year.
No.
Yeah.
From last year to this year, his slider went from like great to one of the worst in baseball. I don't know what the thought process was outside of, the fastball is slightly better as far as movement goes, but was that worth it? I mean, that was never going to be his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like 92, okay, now there's slightly more movement, now he's going to be... I don't know what went into this. I don't know if this was a him thing, if he was like, hey, I want to see if I can get more run, more ride with the fastball.
Yeah, more tail in the changeup.
But if that was the case, last year his run value for his curveball was 9. His slider was 7. This year already the slider's -5. You know how hard it is to be -5 run value this early? In what, 6 starts? Is that what it is? 6 starts? 7 starts? I mean, that's hilarious. It went from dudes hitting 205 and slugging 256 against his slider to dudes hitting 417, slugging 833.
And I would. You hear from Mike Boddicker, you hear from Jeff Montgomery, and they would say, don't mess with a good thing. Like, if this was done on purpose, not sure why that would be the case. I can understand the philosophy and the reasoning behind it, where you would say, what you got from Noah Cameron was great last year in having, the sub-3 ERA. I like to say it that way, 2.99, but it was sub-3 ERA. But can he survive on 7 strikeouts per 9? If
yes.
He's got that would be the question. If the answer is yes, then leave it alone.
Seth Lugo's been doing that.
Yeah,
Brock has been doing that.
But if the answer is, well, the book gets out on him, he might get ready to get hit around because his fielding independent pitching was 4.2. And that's going to be more predictable with the lack of strikeouts than, say, the ERA that was 2.99. if that was the case, I could understand the strategy of, is there a way to add more stuff to this to go along with his command? And now maybe your strikeouts per 9 jump up to 9. And, okay, well, now you're feeling like you're getting 2 more outs via strikeout in a game as opposed to outs that are put in play. Over the course of 24 games started, that's, 48 more outs that are by strikeouts as opposed to balls put in play? All right, that can make a difference over the course of a season. The problem is his strikeouts per 9 have increased by 0.7, and his walkouts per 9, or his walks per 9, walkouts per 9, his walkout songs per 9. Walks per 9 and strikeouts per 9 have both improved or both increased by the same number.
Yeah.
He's walking more, he's striking out more, guys, but it's both by the exact same number, like 0.7. Is that what you want from Noah Cameron? No, because it has not been successful. So is there a question of, if this was done on purpose, at what point do you pull the plug and say, let's just go back to being the guy that you were? Or is it, no, we're staying the course, this will be better for you in the long run, we've got to work through it, and if that's the case, is working through it at the big leagues the best idea? As opposed to Kolek staying in the rotation and Noah Cameron going to AAA, figuring out the command with the added, movement to his particular pitches that he throws, 50, 60% of the time. The fastball, the cutter, the changeup, you're talking about 60, 65% of his pitches, and those are all moving differently than they have in the past.
Yeah, it's why I just don't understand. Again, they know more than me, so clearly they should know.
They've been really good with pitchers.
They've been great with pitchers,
yeah.
And so. But again, they went from his breaking ball, his curve and slider being in the 99th percentile. This year, it's the 3rd.
Yeah.
I mean,
not third best.
Third worst.
3rd percentile.
and
3.
And so for me, I see that and go, all right, what we want is for you to throw the curve and slider more. This year, he's thrown it less. I get it now because he's getting shelled.
Well, I think it was that they went in to say, we need you to work more on your fastball. We're going to do this and maybe increase velocity and shape of your fastball, so therefore you can work more fastball change. And now when you throw the curve and the slider, those become out pitches and not necessarily pitches that you're throwing throughout the game. You're working your fastball. You can now work later into games. We can use fastball, change, cutter the first couple of innings, first time through the order. Now the second time through the order, now you mix it in the slider and the curve, and now you're going in 6 or 7 innings and keeping them at bay because you've got different things to work off of. But that hasn't worked.
Yeah, it's like the fastball's gotten faster. It's gone down by 0.2.
It's almost
the same.
It's
just
same miles an hour.
Just
different shape.
Yeah, and this is where, again, I think if it were me, I don't know if pulling the plug's the right answer, but again, you look at some of the underlying numbers too, and it's not like you're sitting here going, he's been unlucky. Like Cags last night, 2 ripped balls, unlucky.
Yeah.
Happens. It's not like Noah Cameron sitting here going, yeah, he's got a 5.55, but he's been unlucky. No, his expected ERA is 6.43. Mm-hmm. It's actually worse. He's been lucky. It's only a 5.55. And so you can't really just sit in the middle of the season, let's pull the plug and be the guy you were last time. Move your arm angle back up 8 degrees, and all of a sudden now your slider's great. You can't do it in the majors, at least not on a team that's expected to compete.
Yet no matter what the answer is of which way to go, the answer might be a stint in Omaha to then figure out, do you stay the course and then figure out how to command the pitches, or do you scrap the idea and go back to what you were doing, but then you probably need to do that in Omaha for a couple of starts to get that back.
And again, by the way, I'm not saying I don't think Noah Cameron's ever going to be a good pitcher or a major leaguer. I don't want to get conflated of, Noah Cameron's in a bad rut and they tried something and now I think he's broken. I think he can go back to, I'm not saying a 2.99. I think we all thought that may be the high point. I mean, just for a lot of pitchers, if you said most pitchers, you give me the option of, will they ever have a 2.99 ERA as a starter? I'd probably say, yeah, probably not. I'll take the over. But
yes,
I thought he was going to be a high 3s type of guy, maybe a low 4s. And as your 5th starter, you're sitting here going, well, that's really good.
Yeah.
But trying to make a guy a strikeout pitcher or at least bump those numbers up when he's not that is foolhardy. It seems silly. It's like Michael Wacha, all of a sudden, you know what? We want your changeup's great. We want you to focus only on your fastball, so then the changeup becomes an out pitch versus a weak contact pitch.
He
Well,
would
no, that's
he would tell you to go pound sand.
but right, but that doesn't
Yes,
make any sense.
right, exactly.
Lugo, not a strikeout pitcher. Hey, I know you throw a lot of pitches, but now we want you to focus on these, so then
Yeah.
those become no, it's not your game.
Yeah.
And so that's what it feels like. And again, maybe I'm completely off base, but what we've seen through seven starts, that's what it feels like is happening.
And in fairness, with the ERA last year being 2.99 and the fielding independent pitching being essentially 4.2, should also point out that while his ERA is 5.5 this year, the fielding independent pitching is 4.3. So over the course of last year and this year, his FIP is 4.21, as opposed to his ERA is 3.5. Well, okay, well, if he has an ERA of 4.2 for your fifth starter, I'll take it. By the way, that's a quality start every time out. 6 innings, 3 runs is an ERA of 4.5. So
It was Stephen Kolek until last night.
right, but I mean, if you're getting a quality start from your fifth starter every time out, I'll take it. So that's where it's like, oh man, if Noah Cameron has a 4.5 ERA, that's rough for your fifth starter. No, it's not. No, it's not. You don't want him to have a 5.5. It's, I think, swimming in some pretty deep water for expecting him to have a sub-3 ERA, but going out every single time and throwing a quality start, yeah, for this team, that should be good enough for your fifth starter.
Yeah.
How do you get there for Noah Cameron? And if he gets anything better than that, that's awesome. That's great, because Kolek, I think, can offer you value, whether that is as your 6th starter now moving forward, or as your 5th starter and Noah Cameron your 6th, or somebody, to come in and spot start from time. I don't know. I think there's value in both of those guys, especially if Noah Cameron figures it out. The only question with Stephen Kolek is the last 3 years that I brought up with Monty of the ground ball percentage going from 56% to 52% to this year 42%. He's a command and ground ball guy. And now less than half of his balls put in play are on the ground.
I mean, Noah Cameron went from 42% last year to 28% this year.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Apparently giving fly balls.
Apparently that is the case. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. I want to give the update on Ahmad Hardy. There's more information that came out with Ahmad Hardy, more details with Ahmad Hardy. We'll also hear from Eli Drinkwitz weighing in last night in the Zoo to You, not barnstorming, but, sort of a tour that they're on. I guess tour is the best way to do it. The Zoo to You tour that they go on at different areas. So we'll hear from Eli Drinkwitz, and we'll talk about the details that come out about Ahmad Hardy. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Mick Schaefer will join us coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. There is an update, or at least more information on Ahmad Hardy. Let's hear from Eli Drinkwitz. The audio that was out there on Twitter, it's not the easiest to hear, but I think you can make out what Eli Drinkwitz is saying about Ahmad Hardy. So here is Eli Drinkwitz last night in an update on Ahmad Hardy.
What can you tell us about Ahmad Hardy?
I can tell you Ahmad Hardy has been discharged from the hospital. He's back in Hawaii, and he's working on a recovery. The timetable for that recovery is not determined. You know, we'll take it day by day. He will get back healthy. You know, when you're dealing with finally with elite athletes, right? Getting back healthy and getting back to elite status is always a little bit tricky in some of these situations. There is an opportunity that he could be back this year. There's an opportunity he could be back this year. So we won't know those answers for a few weeks. But he's got the full support of MU Healthcare, and he's got the full support of our team as we continue to help him recover and work it day by day.
Timetable's not determined. He will be back healthy at some point. Healthy does not equal elite status when you're talking about, as he said, finely tuned athletes. There is an opportunity he could be back this year, an opportunity that he couldn't be back this year. Reed Millard, I think that's how you pronounce his name, put out a post in updates on Ahmad Hardy, who this guy is Ahmad Hardy's mentor. He writes, prayers for my guy Ahmad Hardy Jr., running back for the University of Missouri, pictured from earlier today at Forest General Hospital in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He's with his 2-month-old son, Ahmad Hardy Jr. Missouri football running back coach Curtis Looper and recruiting coach Maury Bland were by Ahmad's bedside from day one to give the full support of Coach Drinkwitz and the entire University of Missouri's football family to Ahmad and his family. Today, we flew Ahmad back to Columbia, Missouri, where he was met by the university's top orthopedic surgeon and his team. Ahmad had a big smile as well as gathered around to welcome him home to his Mizzou family. Dr. Noel will oversee Ahmad's rehab and progress going into the future. In the hospital room in Hattiesburg, Ahmad said to Coach Bland, "Do you think I could start playing mid-season?" We all know it's way too soon to speculate on Ahmad's return to playing football. Both his orthopedic surgeon, who repaired the femur bone, and his trauma surgeon, who cleaned out and repaired the soft tissue where he was shot, said that Ahmad should definitely have a full recovery. They were very positive about the outcome and added that a better prognosis would be to review his prognosis in 4 weeks. The two Forest General Hospital surgeons added, Ahmad is a very, very lucky young man. The full metal jacket bullet penetrated through his wallet into his femur and then ricocheted back up into the soft tissue. The bullet did not enter into his colon or bladder. It was a 1/4 inch from his femoral artery and did not penetrate his sciatic nerve, both which could have been devastating. My suggestion to everyone, give Ahmad's medical team at least a month before you start asking the big question of when will Ahmad be back on the field again. He will be, but that is the million-dollar question. I've personally been honored to mentor Ahmad while he's been at the University of Missouri. He's a great young man. He loves playing football with all his teammates. He enjoys running the ball, but he also enjoys as much blocking to make sure the team moves the ball up the field. Little AJ means the world to him, and riding his horse Chaotic gives him a lot of peace after a ball game. To everyone who has said a prayer for Ahmad and his family, I thank you, and I know Ahmad thanks you too. To the medical team that includes the doctors and nurses and those who helped the last few days at Forest General, just want to say thank you to you and your hospital team. You guys were incredible. The level of professional care and personal attention will always be remembered. It's been a tough week for Ahmad and his family, to say the least. Let's give Ahmad and his medical team a little room to breathe, and we'll look at his progress down the road in a few weeks. Then he goes on to say, thanking Coach Looper and Coach Bland for being there, helping the family navigate the situation. But you hear the detail there, and is there a way that you could be unlucky while being incredibly fortunate at the same time? Because he was clearly unlucky in being struck by a bullet while in a car, but incredibly fortunate that the bullet goes through the wallet, hits the femur, ricochets, and misses the femoral artery by a quarter of an inch. Devastating is another word for, let's be honest, he wouldn't have survived that. You're going to bleed out pretty quickly from that injury. A quarter of an inch from that. I mean,
It's crazy.
wrong place, wrong time. And there's a picture he had mentioned, the picture below. It's a picture of Ahmad holding his son. And that's the most important picture of all. That's the most important thing of all, is that 2-month-old has his dad moving forward, and his dad will clearly survive this. Whether he ever plays football again or not, I think is secondary. Probably secondary to him when you wake up out of surgery and you're there and present and you're holding your child. The next thing then at that point is, okay, what do I have to do to get back to playing football? Because I am going to provide for this child, and running the football and using my legs is how I will make a great life for him. But he asked the question, do you think I'll be able to play midseason? And we don't know. The answer might have been, of course. Might have been, it's pushing it. It could also be, once the bone heals in your femur, you're going to be back to normal. But, the soft tissue is going to heal before the bone, and once that happens, you're going to be perfectly fine. You'll be back to who you were before. I don't know, and it clearly seems like they don't know the full prognosis for another few weeks to see how it's healing and then go, okay, we have a better idea of timeline.
Yeah, just an absolutely insane story. Sounds like the perpetrators were potentially former teammates.
Ugh. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. Mick Schaefer will join us coming up at 1 o'clock. KSHB 41 Sports Director, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. We've got the Crossroads Show with Matt Beasler and Nate Bukaty coming up tonight at 6 o'clock after the program wraps up the shows today. We've talked a lot over the last 24 hours about the schedule release, some of the leaks that are going on. The main thing I think that people are pumped about, at least I was, is that the Chiefs are not in an international game. About time to not have to deal with that stuff with the Chiefs, and last year going to Brazil and all of that. But they do open up Week 1 against the Broncos. Joining us now, Sarah Bettinger from Locked On Broncos podcast and many other different things with covering the Denver Broncos there. Sarah, thank you for joining us, man. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks, guys, so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I've done a really good job of endearing myself to Broncos fans, I think, with some tweets about the Chiefs opening up on the road. So I appreciate you still coming on the show. That's very kind of you.
I know.
But in all seriousness, Sarah, I actually think it's beneficial for both teams in the game being played in Kansas City Week 1. I know there have been some complaints about, the Broncos not getting that game at home Week 1, but I think it's beneficial for both teams. What was your reaction, and how do you feel about Week 1 being in Kansas City Monday Night Football, that this conversation has been going on for 24 hours now?
Well, I love that it's in prime time. I think that's so much fun, and it's going to be great for the NFL, obviously. And yeah, you got to play. You got to play the game on Twitter. Absolutely, you got to drum up, whatever sort of way you can add the chip to the shoulder, right? Because that's the whole thing, is that it is, in all reality, beneficial to both teams in a lot of different ways. But from the Broncos fans' perspective, or from some in Broncos country, it's like, hey, didn't we just host the AFC Championship game and finally take back the AFC West after all these years? Like, shouldn't we be opening up at home? And, you add whatever sort of chip to the shoulder that you can add. Just like last year, Sean Payton calling out Jacksonville for being a small market team, and the Jaguars were somehow offended by that. It's like, hey, the reality is what it is. You just have to kind of fabricate that sort of chip sometimes. But I think it is beneficial for both teams, because also from the Broncos side of things, you're thinking about, okay, we don't have to go to Arrowhead now in December or later in the season when maybe, Patrick Mahomes has kind of got back into a groove, or that new look defense in terms of all those players out there have kind of started to get acclimated more to Spagnuolo's system. And so you're kind of catching them early in their own house, and you have a chance to set the tone in that way. So I like it from that perspective, and I don't think the Broncos have any sort of they've proven over the last couple of years that they can go in there and win tight games, whether it is against the starters or, a number of the backups. But I think it's just a great matchup overall to open up the season under the lights. On top of it all.
Yeah, I think it's actually, there's more pressure on the Chiefs in this game. And for the points that you're talking about, I think, look, you don't want to just give away a game and say, Denver loses Week 1, no big deal, it's in Kansas City. You want to go and win. And I think that's where that point of being pressure more on the Chiefs is. They're coming off a 6-11 team. The Broncos win the division, beat you twice, whether it was Mahomes or Oladokin there at quarterback. And you're at home, and it's early in the season. If you lose that game, the Chiefs, you're 0-1. You have 7 more home games and 9 road games, including one that's going to be in Denver later on in the year. Whereas if the Broncos lose this game, you don't want to start 0-1, but they still have 8 home games, 8 road games, and it's Week 1 of the division that later on in the year when they play the second game, those are games where we sort of pay more attention to it as, those plays, because that game could decide a tiebreaker or the division, and you got it in Denver for that one. It's easier to overcome a loss in Week 1 than it is maybe a loss in Week 14 that can set you 2 games back when you get that one at home. I think so much of the pressure in this game is going to be on the Chiefs.
I think you're absolutely right about that. And in reality, like, it's not that there's no stakes to this game. That we know that Week 1 games, they played a factor last year, right? The Patriots losing Week 1 to the Raiders ultimately cost them the number 1 seed. But there is, like you mentioned, plenty of time to it's plenty of time to overcome. And that's kind of been Sean Payton's thing. Like, over the course of history, he has to get asked about it every year of like, hey, why do your teams always seem to start slow in September, and they somehow seem to figure everything out. So how do you fix that, or how do you start faster? But there is the element of, okay, this is the first game of the season. It's still an AFC West game. It has major implications, but it's not like we don't have time to overcome whatever ends up happening. And it is going to be a lot of new for both sides. Like, there's going to be a learning curve and an adjustment for both teams too, because you have on the Broncos side a first-year offensive play caller now with Davis Webb taking over for Sean Payton, and so we're all interested to find out what that looks like with Jalen Waddle in the mix, and a hopefully fully healthy complement of offensive weapons after losing J.K. Dobbins in the middle of last year. So there's just so much that's going to be different about the team, and there's plenty of time. Like, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? And of course, everybody in the fan bases are going to want to win that first one and get the immediate bragging rights, but it's all about the long game and understanding, hey, what can how can we come away from this game, with, I guess, whatever it is that they need to come away with in terms of having that long-term success for the 2026 season.
Sarah Bettinger is our guest, Locked On Broncos podcast. What's the latest with Bo Nix? And, with that game being week 1, and being Monday night, there's sort of an understanding that people around the NFL have a pretty decent idea, I think, and I've said that I think Mahomes is going to be ready for week 1, and he'll be 100% if he's playing. They're not going to put him out there at 70% or 80% just to have him play, but I think he's going to be ready to play for week 1. What's the latest with Bo Nix and that ankle, and any concerns of a setback or him, not being ready for the start of the season?
Sean Payton told everybody at the rookie minicamp over Mother's Day weekend that Bo is expected to be full go before the start of training camp. So they had a second procedure around the time of the NFL draft, and I don't know all the details of what that procedure entailed, if they just went in and cleaned up some stuff or whatever it may be. So that would be purely speculative on my part, but it does sound like Bo is going to be completely fine for the beginning of training camp and even earlier than that, but the Broncos are just going to kind of bring him along slowly just to make sure that, hey, he's obviously going to be eager to get back out there with his teammates. Don't know how much we'll see him throughout the course of OTAs and, the mandatory minicamp and things like that, but expected to be full go for training camp, and we'll kind of see from there, like, how they monitor snaps in the preseason, anything like that. But I think, as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be Bo Nix versus Patrick Mahomes in that game. I feel like Patrick's going to play as well, so that's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, I don't think the NFL, how excited would it be for, Stidham versus Fields, week 1, Monday Night Football. Yeah, let's get pumped up here. Let's have some fun with this one. Sarah Bettinger is our guest, Locked On Broncos podcast. I want to talk to you about a couple of other things with the roster and personnel side of it, but George Patton gets the extension there as the GM of the Broncos, and I'm always curious to, when we go to different cities and talk to people that cover the team, what the feeling is around that particular GM, because even in Kansas City, you'll get a mixed bag on what people think of Brett Veach. It's, he's the worst GM ever. He's unbelievable. He's overrated. He's riding the coattails of John Dorsey with Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris Jones draft picks. He should be up there with Howie, as the GM. What's the view around Denver with Patton and him as the GM of the Broncos?
Yeah, so he's been around since 2021, just got the 5-year extension through 2030, which is really exciting. I think that, look, you're going to get mixed reviews, just like you said with Brett Veach. You're going to get mixed reviews with any general manager that makes especially bold moves and big decisions to try and, push the ball forward. And so George gets a lot of flack for hiring Nathaniel Hackett, which that's a whole layered discussion that goes back to, did the Broncos believe that Nathaniel Hackett was a means to the end of Aaron Rodgers, getting him in Denver? And so there's all sorts of theories about that. And then, trading for Russell Wilson, I don't think was a mistake. Even in hindsight, I think you take that swing when you get an opportunity in the context the Broncos were in. However, giving Russ a massive contract. Well, not necessarily the greatest decision in the world there, but at the same time, when you feel like you have a quarterback in place that you can win with, we see teams all the time approach that accordingly. And the Broncos have been able to overcome that largely because of George Payton and Sean Payton, the way that they work together as a brain trust. Yeah. And there was so much concern over that because Sean has final say over the roster. George he took the Denver job after over a decade of declining general manager positions. And so it was like, is there going to be a power struggle between these two guys? But George has just such a great boots on the ground way of approaching scouting, and the scout in him has never left. And he has such a way of, I know nobody just flippantly uses draft picks, but you can tell every pick that he makes is made with the intention that they're going to be able to get the best out of whoever they take. And you've seen that come to fruition with like 7th-round picks like Jonathan Cooper, a really good player. Yeah. Alex Forsythe, really solid backup center. And, it goes through, you can go through every round of the draft and find players like that. And so George's eye for talent and Sean's ability to identify players who fit his system, it's been a perfect combination. So you'll hear a lot of Broncos country that doesn't like George, and I think there's justifiable reasons for that, but I think he's done a great job. I think he's earned the benefit of the doubt digging the team out of the giant Russell Wilson cap hole, but I think also Sean Payton deserves a lot of credit for helping with that as well.
What's the reaction from the draft class? No first and second round picks, so maybe a little more difficult to see who can be impactful players, but what do they think Payton got, Sean and George got done with their 7 picks? Yeah, 7 picks.
7 picks.
Yeah, 3 of those being 7th rounders, but kind of tough to gauge when there's no first or second rounder. But what's the view around that in adding in this offseason?
Well, it's tough because you always, in the initial stages, and you guys understand this too, you kind of tend to want to romanticize any draft pick because they have a clean slate. They have, there's every reason to be optimistic, but I would say from my vantage point, and I love the NFL draft, I love watching these guys, I love listening to what experts who evaluate these players say. From everything that I'm understanding, like the Broncos had a really good draft. Like Tyler Onyedem was their top pick out of Texas A&M, guy who kind of appeared late in the process. I think he was 74th or 76th on Dane Brugler's The Beast big board, and the Broncos got him at 66. He's going to come in and potentially start right away replacing some of the snaps left behind by John Franklin Myers, who was probably the team's biggest loss, maybe their only real loss this offseason of note. And so he'll be immediately in the rotation. But then day 3, they went and got Jonah Coleman, who, and I have the receipts to prove this. You can go check Locked On Broncos on YouTube. But we've talked in the weeks and months leading up to the draft that Jonah Coleman is the exact running back that the Broncos needed to fortify their depth at the position, some insurance behind J.K. Dobbins. He's already really good in pass protection, third down capabilities, all those sorts of things. So he'll be in the rotation right away. And that's just a number of kind of developmental, let's see what happens types of guys. Cage Casey on the offensive line, they really liked him at Boise State, 41 starts. They get Justin Joly, the tight end, who's potential heir apparent to Evan Ingram after this year. And then the 3 7th-rounders, I think they got some really nice value there with Miles Scott, who will play special teams right away. Dallin Bentley, I thought, was a 4th, 5th-round tight end. And then Red Murdoch, who was kind of their only linebacker that they picked up this offseason at what was arguably considered the biggest position of need. So definitely feel like they addressed what they needed to in terms of depth and potential future starters. But again, with the draft, it's always beauty in the eye of the beholder. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I always like to, when the draft takes place and you get the players in, if you traded away picks for a player, like I know that we don't specifically include that in the draft class, but like, a number of years ago in 2019, the Chiefs, don't have a first-round draft pick because they traded for Frank Clark. Oh, okay, well, they had that draft class, and then Frank Clark was a big part of them winning a few Super Bowls and turning that defense around. No first or second rounder this year, but no first rounder because of Jalen Waddle being there on the team. What do you think the impact will be for Jalen Waddle, with Cortland there, but also how does that coexist with Marvin Mims and what they want to do with him? I'm not a fan of Waddle being in Denver, I'll tell you that. So just from my perspective, watching the games, I don't want him to be in Denver. I didn't like that trade. I thought it was a stupid trade. But how do you think that whole thing works and they coexist in that wide receiver room?
I can't wait to see, because everything that Jalen Waddle does well is everything that the Broncos have been missing on offense for, it feels like, forever, since Emmanuel Sanders played for them, because they haven't necessarily had a lot of guys who could both create separation and create offense at all levels of the field. I mean, Jerry Jeudy is probably the closest that they've had, at least in route running and creating separation, but then he struggled to catch the ball. So he can get open, but then you get him the ball and it's hitting the ground. So Jalen Waddle brings that element of he's not only going to raise the level of the offense by what he does individually, but because he's kind of going to be the tide that raises all boats in the harbor. Like with Cortland Sutton, now you have opportunities because defenses can't just focus in on, hey, let's bracket cover Cortland Sutton. Let's double team Cortland Sutton. Let's take away the deep ball to Cortland Sutton. And these other guys will just say, hey, if you can get open, we dare you. With Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, these other players who have kind of just been coming along slowly. Now you have somebody in Waddle who is going to take the pressure off of your better players and create more favorable options for them. And so that's, I think, we continually say at Locked On Broncos, like Cortland Sutton might be, going on 30 years old at this point, but it's almost like we haven't quite seen the best of him because he's been carrying so much of the burden of the offense. And the same applies to players like Troy Franklin. Marvin Mims is probably the most directly affected by Jalen Waddle, although Marvin's role as sort of a gadget player within the offense, as well as a deep threat, can't necessarily be considered like, oh, well, you have to sacrifice that in order to play Jalen Waddle, because we know the Broncos like to get everybody involved in that passing game, and Sean Payton with his personnel groupings. So I think the Jalen Waddle pickup, I know I'm on a Chiefs radio show right now, but man, I can't help but feel like that was arguably one of the best moves that any team made this offseason, even as you look around the rest of the league and what other teams did, especially considering how close the Broncos were last year, to get that player that is exactly what the offense has been missing. It just feels like, all right, the Thanos gauntlet got its last infinity stone in sort of a way of speaking there.
Yeah, Sayer Bettinger is our guest, Locked On Broncos. I do think these are the two best teams in the West. The Chargers, whatever they did this offseason. We'll see about the Raiders moving forward, but to me it's the Broncos and the Chiefs, and we'll see if the Chiefs can get back with what they did in the offseason to being atop of the AFC West. But it'll be fun with those games with the Broncos and Chiefs. We know week 1, it'll be in Kansas City. We'll find out the rest of the schedule as well. Sayer, thank you for taking some time out, man, and talking about the Broncos and that side of it, and what this offseason will continue to be, and getting ready for September 14th already for the season to get rolling, man. I appreciate the time, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. And, can't wait for the season.
Absolutely. There's Sayer Bettinger. Good stuff from him, Locked On Broncos podcast, and giving us the Denver side to not only the Week 1 game being in Kansas City and Monday Night Football, but the offseason for the Broncos and making that move for Jalen Waddle. And as I said, I didn't like the move. Thought it was dumb. For obvious reasons. I thought it was really good for the Broncos, adding that element to their offense, because you go in and play the Broncos for so many years. We've talked about limiting Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
And then, okay, do you take your chances with, last couple of years, Troy Franklin or Marvin Mims? Okay, well, limit Cortland Sutton. You feel pretty good about what you can do against the Broncos offense. Well, now you got Jalen Waddle to worry about. So that certainly impacts things from the Denver perspective, from the Chiefs perspective, going up against that team. And so, it was a great move, just as I was mad that the Max Crosby deal got nixed, because I thought it was great for the rest of the league that the Ravens were going to give up 2 first-rounders for an aging defensive end and then pay him crazy money. Like, that's amazing. That's awesome. The Raiders can have extra first-round draft picks, because right now I'm not really concerned about what they're going to do in the AFC West. But, okay, you give the Ravens a great defensive end, but you're going to give up 2 first-rounders for it? And then, of course, they end up getting Trey Hendrickson who isn't Max Crosby, but they both battled injuries. I loved that deal for the rest of the AFC for Baltimore. I was mad when it got nixed. And I actually, looking back on it, I actually like the move from the Bengals' perspective of getting Dexter Lawrence, if he can return to being the player that he was, because there wasn't a defensive tackle that they looked at this year and said, he's a clear difference maker at number 10. You had been taking a chance with Banks or Peter Woods, and next year there may not be that feeling that there's that guy in the draft. And so you go and get Dexter Lawrence, and you're not paying him as much as some of the top-end defensive tackles. You're not paying him Chris Jones money there. So there are some different moves that were made in trading of first-round draft picks. But yeah, Jalen Waddle, it's a guy that's had 5 years in the NFL. 3 of those have been 1,000-yard receiving seasons.
With
Tua.
real.
With Tua.
Yeah, with Tua.
And Tua and others, Tua and Skyler. And
first year of Tua with him, Tua was a good quarterback. And then Tua... Yeah. There's a before and after.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see. I think it is in the AFC West. I think it's Broncos and Chiefs. And it's great because we get back to the hating of the Broncos. That's always been the rival that I have hated the most, is the Broncos. I know there's a lot of the Raider hater, especially with the Marty years.
As an older guy, I was a Seahawks hater. As an older AFC West
that makes sense.
Guy,
yeah, totally. Yeah, damn the Seahawks. Hate them, hate them, hate them.
Damn you, Steve Largent.
Chargers have just always been like, oh, bless your heart, pat on the head.
It really is. It's like,
oh, bless your heart. San Diego / now L.A.
I think Broncos cute. Probably is the one.
It's the one I hate the most because the Raiders was fun to hate, but the Chiefs beat them all the time.
And the Raiders moved. I think there's something about the move that does take a little away. Obviously, Chargers moved as well. I mean,
but it's a bless your heart,
Denver, for me, which is funny, it was like a Jake Plummer hatred. Like Jake Plummer.
You hated Denver because of Jake Plummer? You are so young. You don't remember the Elway days of breaking the Chiefs.
It would have been like, I would have been young for that. But like as far as like, no, but as far as like really watching, I hated the damn bootlegs.
Yes.
The Jake Plummer
with
bootleg.
John Elway and Terrell Davis or Orlandis Gary or Mike Anderson or anybody else they put back there when Elway was going that stretch and then pulling it or giving it to the running back and seeing TD do what he does. Yes,
32-year-olds. A lot of 32-year-olds in my age group were anti-Jake Plummer. Jake Plummer. And then Darcy's like, yeah, man, Brock Osweiler.
Let me tell you about my hate of Paxton Lynch. How much I hate Paxton Lynch. That damned John Elway jumping ahead of the Chiefs to get Paxton Lynch and the Chiefs having to trade back. Oh, son of a gun, that sucks. So mad about it. Oh, they got stupid.
Tim Tebow.
So mad about those guys. And it's, 1997, which you guys remember fondly in the divisional round. When we had Terrell Davis on the show at the Super Bowl. And I'm glad that he was able to admit with us on the air that the only reason the Broncos won that game is because the Chiefs went with Gerbach over Gannon.
Yeah.
Had Gannon stayed as the quarterback, the Broncos would have lost that game. I just appreciate Terrell Davis admitting that. Now, you'll have to go back to the podcast and see how you inferred his words.
Yeah.
But the way that I took it...
That's how you took it.
Yeah. Was a full admission from Terrell Davis that, yes, we were very fortunate that it was Gerbach instead of Gannon because we probably would have been smoked in that game. I think those were his words. That's what I heard when he was talking. Interesting. The Broncos are the team that, we've talked about it over the years as well. But it's a big game, week 1, out of the gates. We'll find out in a half hour. Netflix will release one of their games. They've got 4 more games to release, 2 on Christmas Day. So... 1 they will release early today. They've got 4 other games they will have the broadcast rights to that we'll find out the full totality of that with the schedule released tomorrow night. But we'll find out one of those games. I'm guessing it's one of the Christmas Day games that Netflix will release. And we'll see which game that is that comes out at 1 o'clock. YouTube this afternoon during Petro's show will release one of the games. Maybe neither of them have to do with the Chiefs. Maybe one of them has to do with the Chiefs. We'll find out. But I do think a lot of the pressure on Monday Night Football Week 1 is going to be on Kansas City.
Yes.
You get the home game, and it's a year where you only have 8. You got 9 road games. That's why I would have been I'm glad they don't have an international game. But if they did, it would have been against the Falcons, and you would have had 8 home and 8 road games and then a neutral site there in Spain. Now they do go to Atlanta. After week 1, they will have 7 home games and 9 road games left. And if you start 0-1 with a loss against the team that I think you're competing with in the division, and the only other time you get to play them again is on the road there, probably later in the year, it's a tough start.
Not ideal, Jason.
Yeah, not great, Bob. It's a tough start. Broncos come in and lose the game. Okay, they still have 8 home games and 8 road games, and they get a chance later in the season to even the score at home there, probably in mid to late November or December. So we'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. The Ahmad Hardy update, we gave that already. We've talked a little Royals in the first hour with Jack, and in fact talked a lot of Royals in the first hour with Jack Johnson and with Jeff Montgomery in the 11 o'clock hour as well. So we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I do want to get back into the Royals a little bit and Seth Lugo on the mound. And tonight's game has a pretty significant meaning for this Royals team. And we'll talk about how, you hate to say 1 of 162 in May is big, but this feels like a bigger game tonight for the Royals against the White Sox and Lugo going out there on the mound. We'll talk about that next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy.
Pasta stain on his shirt.
Yeah, looking like John Dorsey over here. Always walking around with some sort of spaghetti stain somewhere on his sweater. Woulda, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Woulda. What's up, buddy boy?
Of course, the yellow shirt.
Boy.
You know what shows up on yellow? Red.
Oh, yeah. Well, red, and that's the Chiefs.
I wanted to go Chiefs, I guess. Now, you know what? Maybe I just tie-dye it. What if I just tie-dye yellow shirt, get like a whole bunch of red pasta sauce and just throw it all over it?
I think it's past the point of no return at this point. You've got that pasta sauce. That's not coming off. So either you throw it away or you tie-dye it. Only choices you have.
Do you think it'll come out?
Yes, of course it'll come out.
With what?
A wash? I know that you're worried about breaking your ankle again, but you do have to do laundry from time to time.
Yeah, that's been the issue. I've not done laundry since. I've just been buying new clothes.
Buying them and throwing them away.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with this. There's a mountain of clothes over there.
Someone
in a
help
pile.
my family. I spent $100 a month on food, $100 on gas, $2,000 on mortgage.
$100 a month on gas? That's it?
I don't. No, way more than that.
A week,
it's
you mean?
Bad. Yeah. Honestly, with my Jeep Wrangler right now, you know what's not a good time to own a Jeep Wrangler? When gas prices are high. Or not a good time to do laundry when you break ankles and you smell pasta on your shirt.
Yeah, those are the specifically two things that it's not a great time to do laundry, is when you break an ankle a number of months ago.
Hey,
and you have a pasta stain on your shirt.
It's still bleeped up, dude. Like, my doctor lied so hard. She's like, you'll be maybe playing basketball in a couple weeks. I still, can't run. Huh?
Well, Eli Drinkwitz said there's a difference between being back healthy and then being back to your elite status when you're talking about finely tuned athletes.
Oh,
like
there
yourself.
we go. Yeah, that must be it. I must be just that finely tuned athlete that I can't get back
Return to play is not return to production.
Sure, true.
So you can return to play basketball. She said that. She wasn't lying. She also just underestimated the level of play that you are used to on a basketball
She just wasn't a ball knower.
In your mind.
She didn't understand that. I ball out like a bad serve.
Not sure. Maybe it was, getting your physical or not. I'm not sure what she was doing. But either way, she's not, I heard that, she is not familiar with your game.
No.
And so when she said you'll be back to playing basketball, she thought you were just some typical 30-year-old wannabe weekend warrior. No, sir. You should have showed her your mustache. And she would have a better idea.
Yeah, I didn't have one then, I don't think.
See,
that's probably why I broke it.
That's the problem. Yes, your equilibrium was thrown off.
It was off. How am I supposed to do laundry without a mustache and a soul patch and a mullet? Like, that's just...
I don't think people can.
You can't?
Nope, can't do that. Not going to do it. So Salvi had a number of days off from catching. God, was it May 1st the last time Salvi caught for the Royals? And he goes out there and plays the way that he did last night with the bat. First time catching, 2 days off, not playing, sitting Sunday and then having the Monday game off. I think it is something that we should track and watch over the next few days. I haven't seen the lineup, but I'm going to guess Salvi's in the lineup catching tonight. And it might be a typical day where Q might be like, Salvi, I know we caught last night. You've had a number of days off with catching, but let's not push it. Let's give you the next day so we can slow play this to you back being, catcher and making sure that hip stays healthy. You said you feel good, you feel healthy, and the hip feels good, so you can be back catching. Let's not push it. Let's give you the night off. If it wasn't for Seth Lugo and the very specific annoyance with the lack of challenges or the wrong challenge on the sweeper that Seth Lugo said, I didn't think it made it back into the zone. I'm not sure Seth Lugo would prefer Carter over Salvi. In fact, he wouldn't. So I think if Salvi feels good, he's catching tonight. Maybe if for nothing else, Lugo on the mound and Lugo probably wanting Salvi back there to pitch to after the most recent outing where he was frustrated with the first inning.
And we've gone through this many times. Salvi plays better when he catches.
And when he has days off, too. When he's fresh.
But as bad as Salvi's been this year, and it's been bad, there's no sugarcoating. He's OPS in 660 when he catches. He OPS is 536 as a DH.
Yeah, I wouldn't settle for 660, but I'll take it over 530.
I don't know what it is, if it keeps him engaged, if it just he feels looser.
Yeah.
We can say all we want about, well, he's fresher when he DHs. Well, the numbers don't show that.
Yeah.
I get what people say, and maybe sitting is the actual answer, not saying, all right, you catch, and then you DH, then you catch. It really looks like if he's when he's catching, he can still be he's slugging 417 when he catches.
Well, I mean,
That's
if he catches like the next 3 days, Sterling, and then the bat slows down again. Let's say he catches tonight, and then on Thursday, these final 2 games of the series, and he goes out tonight and looks okay, and he's taking those pitches on the low and away like he was last night. Some of those pitches that are left near the zone outside, he takes it the other way and, ends up with a home run and a single in the game, both going opposite field, both on outside pitches. And then if you start to get to the weekend and he's still catching and he's swinging at those pitches and not going the other way and trying to pull everything, well, then maybe the body/mind is getting tired.
Well,
and it's starting to run in on, okay, now I'm here at the plate, and maybe I'm not as locked in this particular at bat to where I see that breaking pitch immediately and I'm not swinging at it versus I'm a little tired and the mind's a little tired and I've been doing all this catching and he's older now, and so maybe, the reaction time, all of that stuff that goes into it. If that starts to happen, then you look at Matt Quatraro and the plan moving forward for what they're going to do with Salvi catching and how often they want to do that, or simply maybe it's you don't have to play DH, maybe you catch, but then you get actual days off.
Yeah, and that's, I think, where I would lie right now, because the past couple of years it really has been noticeable, the drop of from catcher to DH. Or even first base, but catcher to DH specifically, it's drastic. Even his career, it's a pretty noticeable drop-off. Just I went back his totality of his career.
Yeah.
764 OPS as a catcher, 721 as a DH. I mean, that's for the career. I mean, that's 40 points. I mean, 43 points. That's large. I wonder how much, when you're DH only, you're so hyper-focused on hitting that you almost try and do too much, that when Salvi can catch, he's like, okay, well, that's fine. I can impact the game in other ways, not just with my bat. I also wonder, too, his slug specifically this year is much higher as a catcher versus DH. I do think, especially at his age, I know you're like, hey, you want him off his feet as much. I think it keeps him loose.
Well, also
I think it keeps your – like, for me, when I golf, after I do yoga, I know it sounds funny, it helps because your body is loose. And I do, because when you're sitting, everyone's played basketball. When you sit and you come back in the game, that even if you're on the bench for 3 minutes, all of a sudden you're it takes you a second to start getting back into it. I think for Salvi, maybe for me, I think almost give him full days off and then catch. Because when he catches, I think it keeps him loose, it keeps him engaged, it keeps him from hyper-focusing on overcompensating on having to make a huge impact with his bat. Because clearly the slug and all the numbers support when he catches, he's a better player with the bat.
And I wonder, too, if you're behind the plate the whole game and watching pitch after pitch after pitch come in and the strike zone and having that view, that when you get up to the plate, you've been used to these pitches coming in you went from being behind the plate, catching all the pitches from the pitcher, to then going up to the batter's box. And again, there's pitches coming in, so you've been watching it the whole game, as opposed to DH. You get up there, and you haven't seen these pitches, and you can go to the batting cage and stuff like that. It doesn't affect other players that don't play catcher, but maybe for Salvi, it's something that he's so used to by being behind the plate and seeing the entire game, pitch after pitch after pitch coming in, velocity, movement, all of that stuff, and then you get in the batter's box, and maybe it's a better view of this pitch is outside. Well, that pitch starts off the plate. Okay, this is the pitch shape of that one. I know they're working me low and away. All right, I'm just going to, if it looks low and away, I'm just going to take it. Maybe more. It doesn't mean you're going to be batting 1,000 or you're going to look amazing every time, but more of an idea and feel for the strike zone and the velocity of pitches when you've been catching as opposed to just DHing.
I also think my negative reinforcement of he's going to get dropped in the lineup really
true.
worked. I think that was the real conversation.
Yeah, and you said you said soon. You said by Sunday he will be dropped from the 4 spot. And I said, you're crazy. There is zero chance Q's going to drop him from cleanup in this road trip. And after last night's 2 for 4, I think you are spot on.
Well, no, because someone had to light the fire.
Hey.
Come in the doors.
Kick the tires, light the fires, and get Salvi out there going opposite field, man.
Again, if it were me, I know there was the hip, so that's probably why Salvi wasn't catching it for 2 weeks nearly.
If it were you, then he'd be you, and he would do laundry.
I think if I were Q, I would have Salvi catch still the majority of the games, but DH way less.
And actual days off more.
Actual days off more.
I'm
now, I don't know if he's going to go for that, but the number I would almost show him the numbers and say, Salvi, do you want to catch more? Or we can DH you more, but you're not going to be catching hardly. Your catching numbers are going to go drastically.
Let's role play. You're Q. I'm Salvi. Go ahead. Offer me these numbers.
Hello, my friend.
No, I'm Salvi.
Oh, you're Salvi.
You're Q.
Hey, Salvi, I have a proposition to make you. Do you want to play nearly every single game, but the majority you're going to be DHing? Or, Salvi, you can catch the majority of the games for us, but we're going to have a few more actual off days for you, which means no DHing on your off days. But you're going to catch way more games.
Bleep you, my friend. Bleep you, my friend. I play. And scene. Acting.
Because if
that's the reaction.
That's.
But I agree with you that I think there should be more actual days off, less DHing. Just give him the entire mental rest. And then he's available later on in the game to pinch hit. Bring him in a moment where, hey, they brought a lefty out here to go up against Massey or Isbell. Okay, well, and you don't have to go Nick Lofton or Lane Thomas. We're bringing Salvi in this moment. And you know what? We need a bloop and a blast. We've got 2 outs in the 9th, and, down by 2, there's a runner at first. Well, it's going to be 2 hits to score that guy. Or you got Salvi in there that one swing can tie it up.
Yeah.
So maybe you take, and just, as different possibilities if you're also giving him more days off, which I think probably should be the case. Now, maybe his bat stays hot and this is him breaking out.
Sure.
And whether he's DHing or catching over the next month, he's going to be a Salvi that, hits 10 home runs and a number of doubles and drives in runs. And it's like, wow, Salvi's on fire, man. And he's not swinging at those pitches outside. And then he'll have a stretch where it's like, why does he keep swinging at those pitches that he knows he can't hit, or grounding out in double plays and pop-ups and not driving the baseball? Maybe this is the time where he's going to get hot. I hope that's the case, that now moving forward, at least for a time being, because Vinny's breaking out of it. Bobby is, putting together MVP numbers over the last month. Is, he's hitting like he did when he was number 2 in the MVP voting. Not like last year was terrible when he finished 4th in MVP voting. And Carter got on base twice last night. Caglione hit a ball 109 and then almost 115, unfortunately right at dudes, with expected batting averages of 740 and 750.
The process last night for a lot of guys was good. And again, I will go back to Stephen Kolek. Another complaint of giving up the 3-run shot, brutal. That was a kick in the stones, but also, is it better if he walks the guy? I mean, I guess you look now and say, yeah, maybe he should have walked the guy to get to Benintendi, to face the lefty, right? That's a conversation we would be having. So I'm at least glad he challenged him and let the second baseman, who's not a power hitter, force him to take you deep, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of same thing with Matt Strahm, where I didn't think it was a horrible pitch. But these are also major leaguers you're going against. When Bobby or Salvi hits a ball when Salvi hits that pitch for a home run, we sit here and go, what a great swing by Salvi. How did he do it? It was a good pitch. I think Matt Strahm, could it have been a little more inside on the hands? I think it was supposed to be a back foot slider, I think. And it was just a little too much of the middle third, but still it was low and out of the zone.
Yeah.
You tip your cap.
But also 2-3-4 last night. What have we been complaining about throughout most of the season? But 2-3-4 went 6 of 14 with 2 home runs, a walk, and a strikeout. We've talked about that, especially 3-4. But even at the beginning of the season, when Bobby wasn't hitting like Bobby, and he's not hitting home runs, and he's not hitting extra base hits, what's going on with Bobby? He's getting some singles, but he's not driving the baseball. 2-3-4 is the real issue. Garcia's getting on base at like 400, yet they're not scoring runs, and what's going on? And then Bobby was getting on base, but he wasn't scoring because the guys behind him were not driving him in. 2-3-4 last night, went 6 of 14.
And then it was 5-6, Carter and Cag with runners in the scoring position. Was because Carter was it first and third, 1 out?
Yeah, and he struck out.
Yeah.
But in the 6th inning, he also started the rally by that.
He did.
That really awesome at bat.
Yeah.
had 2 strikes, fouled off pitches, challenged a strike that was a ball, a couple more fouls, a couple more pitches, earns a walk, and it gets things rolling there from that point forward. So, and again, CAG's the approach and putting good swings on you hit it hard. That's all you can do. Hit it hard, see where it goes. Now, I'd like a little more launch angle and a little more loft because I think 4 or 5 degrees launch angle, he might have 2 home runs with that. But 14 degrees, not going to help you out much if you hit it right at somebody. 18 degrees might be, 390 into right center, and that's gone. Or 415 into center field, and that's gone. Who knows? We'll talk about a little more Royals on this side of the break. Mick Schaefer will join us coming up at 1 o'clock. But on the other side, this is a sneaky big game. We'll discuss that next. Game 2 of the series with the White Sox tonight with the Royals. It's a big game because pivotal. Some would say a pivotal Game 2 of a 3-game series. No matter who wins Game 1, Game 2 becomes really pivotal. And if it's a 3-game series, then it doesn't matter the third game because, if the team is
that game does not pivot.
If the team wins the first 2, like if the White Sox were to win tonight, no longer pivotal. But for this team, you go up against a team that roster-wise you are better than. but they are better than you in the standings. And I don't think they look at themselves and go, that team is better than us.
No.
They can look at themselves and go, we're ahead of them in the standings. Why not us? We just beat them. We just beat them last night. This isn't the White Sox team that, this team was coming in and pushing us around and walking all over us. We're different now. We got some guys that could play. Winning tonight and tomorrow is important because it's a divisional game. But also, you don't want to go from splitting with the Guardians, winning the series against the Tigers, and then going on the road and losing a series against the White Sox when, you had a 2-0 lead, then it was 5-5 and, fighting back. And then the very next inning, after tying it at 5 in the 6th, you come back and have first and second, nobody out in the 7th and can't come through. Strikeout, ground out. And that Salvi single to right field in the 7th inning was the last base runner that the Royals had. They went the next 9 up, 9 down after that. But you need a win tonight because it gives you an opportunity tomorrow to get the series. It also avoids, eliminates a sweep, whatever. But you also have Seth Lugo on the mound against somebody that's been struggling. And if you continue to take your approach, then hopefully those things will work in your favor. But, you do have a guy who's 7 foot on the mound on the other side for Noah Schultz.
Who throws absolute gas.
Yeah. Doesn't know where it's going half the time.
No. But it's fun.
But he's 6'11" and throws, gas.
I did look this up because that was fun. You said, Jack Caglione, that's not going to be a home run at 14 degrees. The lowest ever in the StatCast era. Want to take a guess what it is?
Bobby Witt's inside the park home run.
No, actual one that clears the fence.
Okay.
And you'll probably guess who it's from.
15 degrees.
You want to guess who hit a 13.5-degree laser? Obvious.
Laser.
It should be obvious.
Aaron Judge?
No. More obvious than even Judge.
Ohtani?
More obvious than Ohtani.
More obvious than Ohtani?
And Judge. Happened in 2015.
Okay, I'm missing somebody obvious.
A Stantonian blast.
Oh, yeah, Giancarlo.
Giancarlo Stan.
That makes sense.
That's because he hit one that was 13.5 degrees. It was
a softball home run.
Exit velo of 118.5. It got 38 feet. It was the max height. Dude, if you're the third baseman, that is terrifying.
Oh, man.
You're the third baseman, you put your glove up to try. You're like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So he would have needed... Well, the 114 was to... No, the 114 was to right field. The one that was 109 was to center field. So, what was that to center field or right field? I can't remember. Good. Oh, man. Either way, he would have needed 4 more mile-an-hour exit velocity to come close to a home run of what was Giancarlo's 13.5-degree launch angle because Jack's was 14 degrees.
The point remains. You got to get to Mark Trumbo to get anything once you get to the 15s.
Trumbo.
I mean,
you need to hit it higher.
You got to hit it higher.
Yeah,
you got to hit it a lot.
Line drives are great. It's just unlucky that he hit it right at the right fielder and right at the center fielder.
You know, is the highest launch angle to hit a home run? That's kind of fun.
Oh man, Riley Green with this huge.
J.D. Martinez.
Oh yeah,
J.D. Martinez,
okay.
But apparently
I wouldn't have guessed that.
49.7 degrees. It reached 173 feet and had a hang time of longer than 7 seconds.
That's a hell of a punt. How far did it travel?
I got to watch an ad apparently to see how long.
Duh.
So,
I mean, that makes sense.
But yes, the point you want remains: be in the low 30s, low 30s, Jack, and you are hitting Munataki home runs. You're hitting 35 plus easy.
Yeah. But I mean, get a win tonight. Find a way to get a win. You got Seth Lugo on the mound. The offense's approach has been better over the last couple of weeks. I'm fine with last night's process of what took place. Not as frustrated with the loss last night because I think that process will result in wins way more often than losses. It just resulted in a baseball loss. It was a swing by Chase Mydroth. That was the huge difference in the game on 3-2, 2 outs.
I did find the 7-second long great punt by J.D. Martinez. It was about 3:30. It went into St. Louis. It basically hit the foul pole right there.
Makes sense. Right on the corner.
There must have been a lot of wind just pushing that thing.
Foul pole and wall meeting right there. That's interesting.
Jack, I know no one's told you. That lawn should go right around 30 degrees.
I love the line drives. It's great, and it's better than the ground balls and the Hosmer killing the grass in front of home plate, you know?
Getting closer.
Absolutely. Mick Schaefer next.
Twitter thinks he's funny.
Shame on you nerds.
His wife and kids think he's lame.
No!
We couldn't get Paul, so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on the Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
All right, Wednesday edition of The Zone. Jason Anderson, Michael Darcy, Sterling Holmes, Mick Schaefer hanging out with us. KSHB 41 Sports Director, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Hello, Mick. How are you?
What's up, boys? How are you?
I am doing just fine.
Short pants weather.
Yeah, and
I'm looking for the stain on
and
your
soft stain.
Little stain right
That's not bad.
Little
It could be
marinara,
worse.
little gravy.
I think so.
I was driving back yesterday, and I had like a whole glob of creamy sriracha fall down from my Subway sandwich.
Yeah.
Hit my quarter zip, hit my shorts. A quarter zip and shorts I want to keep in the rotation.
Yeah.
So I had
2 for
to
1,
take care of that last night.
It's tough to eat a sub sandwich on the road, though, while you're driving.
Very
That
tough.
Didn't
but
seem
easier
like the
than
best.
tacos, which I've made that mistake before.
I've spilled
I don't
many
know why.
coffee.
Why was that the only choice? Well, it was either that or tacos while I'm driving.
It was not the only choice. I'm just. It was on the interstate, so it was that or Dairy Queen.
Again,
chicken tenders and gravy would be
We love
nice.
that.
Yeah. What's a sandwich? I should be
know,
able to keep
yeah.
my stuff together,
You
but
would
I
think.
didn't. I
Do
couldn't.
you ever, since you're a golfer, you probably get this a lot too. Do you ever get, when you wear shorts, the steering wheel on your short stain right here? I get it all the time.
How low is the steering
Talking
wheel
about
on the
your
carts
steering
here?
wheel on
You know,
your
when you
shorts?
get out of the car, of like
Oh,
the golf cart.
cart. Okay.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know, I get that a lot. Or like when you put your hands in your pocket, you know, when you're bringing out tees or like.
I get the pockets. I can tell,
Yeah.
like whenever
Yes.
golf balls that aren't always clean in there, the tees
Yes,
or
you get the-
whatever.
that's what I'm talking about,
The different
yeah.
repair things, and I look, I'm like, they're all just they've
Yeah,
stained the
I'm
shorts.
just like,
I'll
yeah.
have my basketball or my shorts that I wear in coaching and will be on dirt, and I'll look down and I'll have the outline of my phone in my left pocket with dirt. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I can't find my phone. There it is. Found my phone.
Well, years ago, especially with dark shirts, I learned put the shirt on, then put deodorant on. Don't put deodorant on first.
Oh, I know,
then you
'cause
put
then
the
it
shirt
gets-
because you get
Yeah,
the
you get the-
streak
the
right
streak,
there,
yeah.
like in the abs area.
So then people know that you're a well-groomed man. Yeah.
Oh, you just smell, around the person with body odor. See, these are all things that you get from life experience.
Life experience.
Kids don't know these
They don't know
things.
this yet.
Yeah.
Get in the life experience zone.
Yes, that's right. Life experience, man. That's what it's about.
What else did we learn?
I don't know. What did you learn from the weekend?
Well,
it is
you
not
gotta
learn
put some-
funniest
what I
best
always-
today.
Well, I'll do is put some Dawn soap on that stain, kind of rub it in a little bit, and then you wash it on cold, delicate, right?
Do you
And
still
then take
put
a look.
detergent in there too?
A little bit. I put a little bit in there, not much.
Okay. Can you wash it with other clothes or just by itself?
You probably can. I did it by myself.
Okay. Well, good for you.
Thank you.
That's
for
pretty
once.
cool, man. Yeah.
But you want to make sure the stain's out. Don't dry it with the stain
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
out
no,
yet.
that's bad. That's bad
it'll
news.
set.
Yeah,
It'll set.
right. He's still.
That's not a bad stain.
But he's still trying to get around to washing his clothes again.
That was about the size of the stain
PTSD
of the,
from clothes.
of the coffee. Remember when he spilt that on it? He took his entire shirt off. He's
Yep,
like, "Oh,
I remember
my
that.
shirt is doused
Walked
in coffee."
down the hall.
It's
I
about that size.
There was a lot. Who did that?
You.
No, who got coffee on me? Someone got
You.
coffee on me.
Maybe Danny. Danny, you were carrying donuts, and you came in carrying donuts with your shirt off. We're like, "Why don't you put a shirt on?" He's like, "Well, I got to be able to put the. I don't know where to put the donuts."
Yeah, it's
but then
true.
we were like, "You put the donuts on to take the shirt off."
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
It's almost like you were searching for attention.
Yeah, I was in better shape.
Although
than
I will
think.
say, walking back to the sales pit was a little extreme. All you had to do was just walk to your office and back. You went all the way back to sales with your shirt off.
You went shopping at Shields.
That
with
was
your
odd,
shirt
too.
off.
There's nothing
And,
wrong.
the donuts in your hands.
Quick Trip was like, I know you're wearing shoes, sir, but
Yes.
it's no shoes, no shirt, no service. I'm going to need you to leave.
I've always been that funny. So
Also,
pants,
this is a
pants are
Wendy's.
optional,
No, I believe that.
but it says no shirt, no shoes, no service.
yeah,
but what
I
about
feel like
pants?
I feel like even crazy people are always going to have pants on.
So you
See,
think
this
you
is
can,
why I like beach towns. Beach towns, all you have to wear are shorts, and you're good.
so you can like Daffy Duck it, is what you're saying, and,
Yeah,
and
like
be fine at Quick Trip.
It's like the
call
anti
it
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh.
You just Winnie the Pooh there at Quick Trip, and you'll be fine.
Why do guys Winnie the Pooh? Old guys at like
Who Winnie's the Pooh?
at old guys at like
Who Winnie the Pooh's?
Who Winnie's?
Who
I
Winnie's
like
those
Winnie.
Poos?
You
Winnie
ever go
was
to like the
great from
gym,
the Wonder
like,
Years?
you know,
I
like,
love
like
Winnie.
the country club or like the gym, and you're in there afterwards. Guys getting out of the sauna, like it's like just old guys walking around, just
No.
shirt first. No, why? What's the point of that? Why are you Winnie the Pooh in it? You don't want to see your tummy, but you're nervous. Not
Did you have a crush on Danica
Patrick.
McKellar?
No, she doesn't know who she is.
Oh, you don't know who Winnie from the Wonder Years
He was
is?
born,
Danica
like
McKellar?
10 years later.
What's her name? I'm gonna look it up.
Danica McKellar.
You know,
from
she's
the
one
Wonder
of the
Years.
foremost mathematicians in like the country now.
I know, like and now she's in all the.
She's gorgeous.
She's in a bunch of like Lifetime.
She
and,
was
and,
coming of age.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
She
Winnie
was,
from Wonder
she was
Years.
big.
Danica McKellar.
So
Let me look at
Yes.
our age, we watched Fred Savage in in a TV show. Your age, or maybe even older, watched the other Savage.
Yeah, Boy Meets
Boy
World.
Meets World Savage.
That's right. Tony Savage. I don't know. I'm not
No,
sure.
we all had one on.
Macho Man Savage.
Oh yeah, this boy's gonna meet the world. That's what I'm talking about here.
What was
Step into a new world.
Topanga. Topanga was.
Yep, Topanga was coming of age.
That was
Yep.
my. Yes, that was my. And
was
Michael's
there.
was. What was yours? Like Victorious with Selena
Paw
Gomez.
Patrol,
or-
probably.
Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol.
Yes. Was it
Yeah.
Everest or was it Sky?
Or were you hey, it's Franklin, or Arthur? The Arthur meme.
I
where
was
he's
Arthur.
doing this?
Cartoons?
Yeah,
Arthur's
you're coming
way
of age.
too
I did not
old
have a
for
coming
him.
of age.
The girl
for
that you had a
cartoons.
crush on in your coming of
Sandy
age.
Cheeks
Oh,
from
Miley
SpongeBob.
Cyrus.
Liv and Maddie.
I was a huge fan of Justin Verlander's wife.
Kate Upton.
You're like
Kate Upton?
9.
Was she on a kid show?
I don't think she was a coming
no,
of age
no.
kid show.
No.
We're talking about like Winnie from Wonder Years.
That was my age,
Topanga,
like in college,
Kelly Kapowski.
Still going.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah. What would it be? So I just what did my kid watch growing
would it
up?
be Miley Cyrus and whatever
It
her
probably
No,
name
Hannah
would have been.
Montana. That
Hannah
was a
Montana,
little
yeah.
before his
Yeah, a
time.
little
See, I was
before.
Lizzie McGuire.
Caught the end of
I had a little
that.
Lizzie McGuire.
Oh,
Hillary
you know
Duff.
what? You probably
Hillary
watched
Duff.
Victorious.
Either
what I said.
Victorious or like
PCA
iCarly.
Academy, whatever, with the Brittany Lynn Spears,
Yeah,
the
see,
younger
my-
Spears.
I
My
said
kids are
Selena
younger.
Gomez probably.
Maybe.
Oh,
Wizard-
that's a big one too.
Wizards
yeah.
of Waverly Place or whatever
Yeah.
that is. Yeah.
Good pull.
Yeah.
Good
I got a
pull.
That would be
picture
if
with
you
her.
did.
She's about my age.
Selena Gomez, you got a picture with her?
Oh yeah, yeah, it was a great picture. She
iCarly.
She asked.
Yeah, you actually look
There
like
you
the
go.
kid from iCarly.
Freddie?
Yes, look it up. Look up the kid from iCarly. You look like him. After you
looking
went
it
to
up.
the gym for a couple years. You're Freddie from iCarly. That's spitting image.
dude, that's wild.
Let me see.
Just
see
a
if I
couple
can get
producers,
picture.
I guess.
Just a couple of producers.
Yeah, I think it's the nose and the mouth are
Producing,
like very
content.
similar. The nose and the mouth are
And the hair and
Yeah.
the eyes and everything.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
that's
Great pull, Mick. That's great.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
proud of you. Yeah, see.
Yeah, no, I've
Yeah.
got the picture in front of me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've also got Google.
Who's this?
Selena Gomez. That was.
Oh, I thought you were showing
Oh, I
me.
thought you were showing me
yeah.
the Nathan Kress. Yeah, that doesn't look like you. That looks like
That's me when I was
Freddie Prinze. Let me see.
21.
You look 12. That's not
21.
even you though.
You still have a picture on your phone from 12 years ago?
Yeah, 2015. I mean,
And
when
let
Selena
me see-
Gomez was
let me
asked
see
to take
Selena
a
Gomez.
picture,
Let me see it again. She
Yeah.
asked you to take a picture.
yeah, she was like, "We're at the big swing. You guys want to take a picture?" And I go,
He is the
That's
hero of
just like
every story he
unbelievable.
tells.
she had just broken up with Justin Bieber, and I thought I had a chance. So we didn't go to a bar and drank on top of a bar
You
afterwards.
chose him
did
as your
not do that.
co-host.
Yeah, I did.
You made the pick here.
And then Johnny Knoxville was there, and it was a hell of a
smoked
time.
weed- I
Sloan Kettering and Johnny Hopkins.
And Johnny Hopkins.
You know what's funny is
You don't know what John Hopkins.
I smoked weed with Selena Gomez. No, you didn't. It was me, Selena Gomez, and Johnny Knoxville.
Puff of that.
Jason. Do I not live a farcical life?
I mean, you do. It is.
You
out
tell
of-
farcical stories.
You're the
I have-
most believable.
I
of-
have evidence.
Well, you
There's
have evidence of
evidence.
a picture. You
Yeah,
could have
that's a
seen her.
picture.
That
That's
could
not
be at
really-
the airport. We don't even
Yes.
know what the background is.
You might have paid $50 for that picture.
It was a
Why
meet
would
and
I
greet
pay
with
money?
Selena. It's a
to
meet
tell
and
the
greet.
story 12 years later and try to seem cooler. Well, try to seem cool.
That does seem like me.
Yeah.
But no.
You resemble that remark.
I'm glad that you are more self-aware. You've become way more self-aware over the years.
What was the kid's name from iCarly?
Freddie?
Freddie?
Freddie.
Nathan
You're Freddie,
Kress,
man.
Freddie
That's
Benson.
awesome.
Are we talking like he's not big though.
Who isn't?
Darcy's not like a. Wasn't the kid in iCarly like the?
You're thinking of Gibby.
I'm thinking of Gibby, dude.
Gibby.
What a pull.
I'm thinking of that
Guys are
dude.
talking about, dude. I'm like probably 90% of our listening audience going, no clue what you're talking
I
about.
was
Well,
thinking-
kids.
Yes.
That's the only
I was
reason
thinking
The
of
listening
the-
audience that
I
I'm
was
thinking
thinking
of.
this dude. I was thinking like the sturdy kid that was this guy.
Just
Yeah,
a legend.
yeah, it's not Gibby.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
That's
Kind of
why I
like
was-
Sterling in The Office, just took his shirt off all the time.
Oh, I see what. Yeah. So did he become
Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer? Did he become Bert Kreischer when he grew up?
Nice baby.
That's right.
This is him. That is Michael
Yeah,
Darcy.
I-
Show me. Can I see it?
For sure. 100%. That's
Oh wow! Actually, yeah.
Yep. That guy grew up to be Michael Darcy.
Yes.
For sure. See, most of the listening audience, though, was still thinking about Winnie from
And I
Wonder
bet you
Years.
got really excited about the Sam and Cat show that aired like 2 episodes, and then there was like photos, right?
See,
Or
that was
something like
that was a little after my time.
What happened now?
So Ariana Grande from Victorious,
Oh, yeah.
and Sam from iCarly got together. They were kind of
real
both
life?
secondary characters on these shows, and they were going to have a show called Sam and Cat. And then I believe the girl from iCarly, some photos came out. They're like, okay, we're not going to have this.
She dated like DeAndre Jordan or something like that.
Andre Drummond.
Andre Drummond.
She was ready to grow up. She was ready to grow up.
She went Andre Drummond. That's
and then Ariana Grande became this huge star.
Ariana Grande.
Kat from Victorious, the dingbat, is now this huge star. And
I've never seen that show at all. Right now, the Thundermans is very big.
Speaking of
in our house, the
speaking of stars, how about Bobby Witt Jr.?
Am I right?
He looks like a star, superstar.
Right? Yeah. Speaking of that,
what can he do?
There'll be a lot of stars out on Monday night at home.
We can't go airless for an entire season. We learned
6 games. 6 games away. 7 actually. 7 games away from erasing Mondesi from the record book.
Can't do it.
76 consecutive games without an error for a shortstop is Mondesi's Royals.
It took him 3 years to do it, but
it's a great point.
That's an awesome pull. That's a great call. Great call, dude. That's a great call. Nice job. Bobby went 70. He needed 7 more games to get Mondesi out of the record book.
Well,
you know what? Bobby Witt can't even go as long as Mondesi without committing an error. I mean, it's absurd. How often this guy commits an error? He can't even go as long as Mondesi.
I still believe in Mondesi.
Raul or Adalberto.
If Pasquantino was right-handed and it has left foot on the base, maybe he could have got there with his right hand.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was. I just.
Oh wait, no, I guess he is left-handed.
No, that was as far as you're going to have. As far as it's going to have. Yeah.
I was thinking he's going across his body. No, he wasn't. Was he?
That's as far as you're going to be able to reach.
If he was 6'8",
yeah,
been out.
Yeah,
would have been going still.
Yeah, so that is unfortunate that streak has been broken. Now he's got to go 77 games starting today. You got to erase the whiteboard, but 0
days
games without an error for Bobby. That's unfortunate. But Monday night for the Chiefs at home, right? Take that, Denver.
And
they are so entitled and deserving of.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
Getting that home
and it's
date.
Always like.
Every division
winner, beat writer, and then everybody has to like school him on life, on like how things go. You won the division,
but this time it was Kyle Brandon and the network.
I know, and the absurd part is like it's under this kind of guise of like, well, that's the only. We're arguing over where they're playing. No, we know they're playing both places. It doesn't matter, and actually, this is a huge favor to the Broncos.
Yeah, I think it's
that is your
for both
best
teams.
chance at winning at Arrowhead.
Yep.
Your best chance is Mahomes, maybe first game back, or no Mahomes. That is a gift to you. That is a gift, and just the entitlement of like, well, we beat them twice last year, won the division. That's not a thing. Who cares?
It's not weird that a horse is looking a gift horse in the mouth.
That's right. Yes,
we're looking in the mirror.
Gift Elway in the mouth.
That's right. You don't look a gift Elway
like
in the mouth.
The Bills have been building a stadium for 5 years, and they don't even have a home game week 1.
That's hilarious.
That's the best point that he has made maybe ever on the show. He's like, Broncos are complaining about not getting a home game week 1. The Bills are opening their new stadium in week 2 of the season.
And then, yes, last year the Chiefs had won the AFC 3 straight times, had won 2 out of 3 Super Bowls, had won the AFC West 10 straight at that point. They had won 9 straight.
Yep.
And they go 5,000 miles away.
They go Brazil.
Yeah.
Brazil.
And it would have been a road game.
Hey, you earned that.
It would have been a road game anyway. It would have been at the Chargers.
It would have been a road game anyway.
Home game. I looked it up, and when the 9 years that the Chiefs have won the division in that stretch, they won the Super Bowl 3 times, so we know they got home dates in week 1 with those.
Yeah.
So that's 6 years of winning the division and going to the AFC Championship game or losing the Super Bowl. 4 road games, 2 home games.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, even if you add in the Super Bowl wins, in the 9 years of winning the division straight, they had 5 home games and 4 road games.
The Broncos won just 1 playoff game last year, right? They won 1 playoff game.
And then scored 7 in the next game in the snow because Sean Payton thought, let's throw the ball with
Patrick Mahomes is averaging like 3.1 wins per playoff season, okay? It might be 2.9 now. I don't know, but and they won 1, and they won the division for the first time in a decade.
It's like they're deserving of getting the home game. Like, that's not a thing. That's not a thing.
And it's not, again, like Kyle Brandt, like he phrased it like that's the only time we're determining where they're going to play. They're playing both places. You know this, and what a dumb thing to say.
The only thing that I would say I can understand the complaint from Broncos fans is not necessarily home or away. If you're the Broncos saying, okay, so if they were going to put a Monday night game between Chiefs and Broncos, whether it's week 1, week 2, week 3, I'd rather the Monday night game be in Denver because we did play in the AFC Championship game and won the division. they're probably not going to have 2 Monday Night Football games, so that means it's probably a 3:25 Sunday in Denver, whereas the Chiefs get the Monday night. I can understand that, but the week 1 saying, no, you got to play them here, they deserve to have the home game week 1, it's absurd.
Stupid.
It was.
And
it
by
was
the
dumb.
way, hey, it gives more time for your quarterback to heal up too.
Yeah, right.
He should be fine, but he had a second surgery. He's back by training camp, and those extra days matter.
They actually said for Bo Nix, he could not go if it was a Sunday, but by Monday he was going to be.
Which I thought was one of the more absurd, conspiracy theories that came out yesterday. That people were like, well, of course, the NFL is giving the Chiefs the last possible game for Patrick Mahomes to
believe
get
that
back.
Actually,
he's not cleared to play Sunday, but he'll play Monday.
Yeah, but it's more like, okay, we're not going to put him on Thursday. We're
going to give him an extra 4 days.
They doing a Wednesday game? Is that right?
Wednesday.
That's the Seattle opener.
Yep.
Will be okay.
Wednesday.
And then the Australia game will be on Thursday here, basically Friday there.
How many bad accents will we see people try? How many of the announcers, the American announcers, will try an Australian accent? Or players?
You'll be one.
Oh, no, I'll be one. Count one.
I
think Jason will do it for sure. Jason will do it.
Yeah.
Not if you're going to do it. I'm out.
But not the play-by-play guys, I wouldn't think.
I wouldn't think so. Do you think we'll get actual Australians to do it? That'd be cool.
I want the officiating crew to adopt for those games. Every time a ball is kicked through the uprights, they go like that, right? How they used to. I don't know if you ever used to watch Australian rules football. They would walk out there, and if it's good, they would go like that.
Yep, and point,
almost like finger guns.
Yes, at your waist
instead of like this.
Yeah.
Yep,
and
right.
so that's what I want. I want to see some Australian rules football gestures from the
I want him to interview a kangaroo. Let's see what that kangaroo has to say.
I hear they're mean.
They're mean.
Yeah, I hear they're just like
They'll
angry.
beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, that's why UMKC has them as the mascot.
Yes.
Because they will fight you. They will punch you. They will take their
Is that the
tail.
animal that seems
Maybe
like...
we don't know that because UMKC hasn't had that fight, that grit, that
Municipal,
punch yet. They went back to the Muni. They got Turge. If it doesn't happen this time, it might never happen.
Is a kangaroo the one animal that, like, as a kid, you think is going to be, like, fun and happy and soft, and you grow up and
Not
you're
the
like, that...
one, but it's definitely in that group.
I think that might be the one.
You see
That
them
or
show
hippo.
up and having like these big pecs, and I'm like, I don't want to fight that thing. Like that thing's built sort of like a human with the pecs, and then it's got something that can tail.
Hippo might be number 2 too. Where as a kid, you're like, "Oh, look,
But
fun
you
at
don't
hippo." Then you
realize-
get older, you're like,
you don't-
"That's just a
yeah,
murdering
realize
machine."
That'll murder everything on the planet.
They'll just
basically.
chew you. It's like
They'll
hungry,
kill
hungry
lions.
hippos. Like
And then
everybody is those little
Orcas
dots.
the opposite. Orcas you're scared of, and you get older, you're like, "They don't really affect humans."
Oh, they'll kill you.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
they'll-
but
they'll-
hey,
they'll
oh,
take
Killer
it.
whales? Oh, they'll kill you.
No, not people, and not in the wild. I don't think there's ever been a case of a killer whale in the wild
that you
attacking
know
a
of.
human.
That you know of because they didn't live
I
to
feel
report
like
it.
it's mostly because you're not in that deep of water.
Yeah.
Well,
You know why you don't know that? The person was killed and eaten by the killer whale.
At SeaWorld.
yeah,
one
because
killed
that
somebody.
was captive. They don't
Oh,
know
okay.
anything. But when they're
They
wild,
don't
they
know any
know.
better?
They don't,
Well, I think they would know
they're,
more,
they're
right?
nicer in the wild than they are.
yes,
in
I
captivity.
learned
Okay.
about this. I read a huge article on this
Willie loved the kid. Okay, Willie was like,
because the thing was, each
That was the
has their
sound Willie
own
made.
style of food that gets passed down through their pods. They call them pods, right?
Yeah.
And so some are like, we only eat like
Everybody's
salmon. We only eat like dolphins.
everybody's got a freaking pod these days. And
Everybody's got a
now
pod.
whales
Even
have
orcas
pods.
have their own pods.
I mean, good night.
Yeah, I don't want to
Just
swim with one of
sonar.
those
and
guys. I'm good.
they're all sponsored by so and so. They're all sponsored by fish food.
Oh,
and-
sonar and all these new
Big fish.
Garmin and different
Big salmon.
radar detectors and
Are
stuff
they
like
mammals,
that.
though?
They're killer, dude.
Yeah, killer.
They are sick. It's killer. Hey, let's hear from. Let's go back to April 2nd, shall we? This is like roughly 6 weeks ago. Let's hear the breaking news and which show had the news about the Roos returning to Muni. Let's take a listen here quickly.
You know, we got a lot of talented guys. I think we can keep a lot of talented guys home. But I think we need to, move games back to municipal, which is one thing we're going to do next year.
What was the importance of moving back to Muni and playing the games there?
Well, I think we have to put our players in a good situation as far as being able to play in front of people. I think our goal is to have a good ticket sales and get a lot of people that want to support and want to come out and be able to fill the place. I don't think we're going to fill municipal to the top, but I think we can get 2,000 to 6,000 fans to be in a position to want to be a part, and we get our student section could be able to come down, and I think a lot of people will want to see municipal the way it is, or back in the 90s.
Yeah.
When you had the Central and Raytown type feel, to bring that significance to us.
Yeah, that was a big one, man. That was great. Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I feel like that was the last time that municipal was looked like a basketball arena.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's how we want it to be.
That was April 2nd at the Final Four with assistant coach Brandon Burgett with UMKC.
So he knows Casey. Where's he from then?
He's from Lee Summit.
Lee Summit
He's a Lee Summit kid.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Lee Summit North, in fact.
That's why you got him on.
That's why we talked to Brandon.
He's a Bronco.
You want Mark Turgeon? No, I want Brandon. That's who I would like,
Jason
sir.
likes all the Broncos. Loves the
Every
Broncos.
single Bronco
All Broncos.
outside of Denver. I'll take all of them. But yes, we heard about that on
So
April 2nd.
he kind of accidentally broke that news.
I
then,
think
huh?
I mean, maybe.
I didn't know about it until I got the press release.
Well, I didn't listen to the show. That's the problem. I didn't realize it was like going to be. I thought it was sort of known at that point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're moving back to Muni. That's awesome. But I do love that he brings up the Central versus
Raytown game. Everybody talks about that. Derek Hood,
Ty Lue.
Ty Lue. Yeah.
Yep, 50 points apiece and.
None of the attacks on humans in the wild have been fatal by orcas. Just
They haven't been fatal.
But they've
never been a single fatal wild orca attack.
But there has been an attack on a human, though.
Well, in the 1970s, a surfer was bitten, but then
Yes.
the orca retreated. And then in 2005, a boy in Alaska was splashing in a region frequented by harbor seals, was bumped by an orca because they thought it was a seal. And then it was a person. And the orca goes, "Oh, sorry, you're not a seal. You're a human child." And so it backed
That's how
away.
they sound, by the way. They sound like a 1920s, like
see?
Yeah, see. But hey, tell me all the latest with the stick and ball you're playing out there, champ.
They're psychos. They'll put dead salmon on their heads to wear them like hats, but like they don't go after humans because they're smart and they know this about them. There's your orca knowledge for the day.
They're smart to not go after humans.
Yes, because it's not. They don't think
humans
it
are
tastes good, probably, or something.
I've never thought humans tasted good, so that's just my own personal opinion.
Back to your original point, I don't think that we should go swim with orcas.
Well, no, necessarily, but we also I don't know what the original point was.
I
Back to your original point,
thought they were crazy nice because they're at SeaWorld, and then the one at SeaWorld killed somebody.
Yeah, back to your original point, UMKC playing at Muni.
Yes.
And the kangaroos being and the dumb
orcas.
accents
Yeah.
that people will try to have you specifically for that game in Australia.
I hope our Mason Thomas is an orca on the field.
Yeah,
Doesn't kill anyone, but gets them good.
Yeah,
I don't need
no
him to
fatal attacks on quarterbacks.
I don't need him to
just
eat
lots of them.
You don't eat the quarterback.
Yeah,
but bumping into him from time to time would be better than what the Chiefs have done the last couple of years.
You know what I'll say? I don't care
There've
if
been
he
a lot
gets
of
the ground.
orca hurries out in the wild. No sacks. No,
There's an orca
no attacks
pressure.
or sacks. A lot of orca pressures.
And
A lot
here's
of
the thing.
pressures.
Here's the thing.
The Carl Loftus of
You put other fish, mammal, whatever, aquatic wildlife in front of a killer whale. That's a quick win. It's a quick win. We haven't seen one-on-one quick wins very often for this team. So I hope he does play like a killer whale. It'd be awesome. I'm gonna go.
I think the Broncos got lucky that it's in Kansas City Week 1.
It's a favor to them.
Yeah.
And they can't even
That
see
is
it.
their best
And they can't
chance
even
to
see
win at Arrowhead. And look, they might sweep the Chiefs again. I mean, they were a better team last year, but that is their best chance to win.
Well, they're donkeys. They probably have blinders on.
Yeah, it's just an entitled franchise.
No, it's a nice horse racing.
Although I want to
Chief
chalk it up
Wallaby
to
didn't
just
help
a
him.
couple people being dumb because there weren't a whole lot of people backing up what those guys were putting out there.
Well, I mean, the Adam Schefter tweet that announced that it was going to Kansas City, I think the first 20 responses were from Broncos fans just teed off. They were not happy about it. I'm like, I didn't even realize this was sort of like a thing.
Why
like
is it a thing?
complaint. I don't get it. Have we heard from the Netflix game yet lately? They were supposed to announce a game at 1 o'clock. Netflix was, and they've got 2 Christmas Day games. And then there's YouTube's going to announce a game at 4 or 5. And then apparently, Mick,
I saw a GIF of a razor blade slicing thin slices of onions, and it said the NFL schedule release every year. It just takes forever.
Yeah. Apparently, they're going to do an entire huge leak tomorrow night. It's going to be this huge leak of a lot of the games tomorrow night. That's supposed to happen.
It's a dam overflowing.
Yeah. That the dam schedule will finally be released. That'll be nice. But no, Netflix was supposed to release one game at 1 o'clock and then YouTube at 4 or 5 or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe
there are
it's 2
so
o'clock.
many international games, 10
thank
now.
God the Chiefs are not one of them.
That's
That's my
the
biggest
Chiefs are not
takeaway.
the
is
Jaguars. Who will have to stay there for 10 days. Or whatever.
No international game for the Chiefs this year.
You'd rather do that, though.
Good with it.
You would not rather have 2 games there, I don't think.
Back to back.
You'd rather have two games than
But I
one
can
overseas?
explore.
I'd rather not go there at all.
You want to go two.
I could explore.
You'd rather have two. You could explore.
As a fan, it would be better because then you could actually, unless you have to work.
Well, yeah.
Well, you don't.
Yeah.
You're fine.
You're
What
good.
if it was an international Christmas game?
Oh,
What if they
God.
put it in Madrid on Christmas?
Yeah, international Christmas game
On a Wednesday.
in Brazil.
Freddie,
Would
that's
have been
coming.
awful.
Okay.
Would have been awful. International Christmas Day
In a country
game
where they
in
don't
Brazil.
celebrate Christmas.
Like, what is this? What is this holiday
We're
you
in-
guys have? What is this holiday?
Iran.
How do we know they might love Christmas?
Sure about that?
I don't know.
You probably should know. It's a big old different. It's a big old different religion than Christianity.
I was doing a bit because we've done this once
were you?
before.
Okay.
Oh, were you?
I didn't feel like that was a bit.
We've done this once before. This
It was a
exact
bit
same
we have.
thing.
It was a bit.
It's a bit.
It was just a
bit.
small bit. It was a
It's
bit.
called a callback.
It was just
Okay.
a little bit of a bit.
I think we should. I ran from this conversation and talk
probably should.
more sports.
Glad they're not going to Madrid.
Want to be Jim Rome over here? I rack 'em.
You know that
Yeah,
means
is that what I do? I rack 'em.
they're got the Chiefs play on.
Pretty good,
Yes,
actually.
thank you, Jim.
Chiefs will have to travel, but they'll play on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Split squad.
Back-to-back days.
Split squad.
They're going to have a. You know what? They decided to do a pre-Thanksgiving Day game.
They did.
A Thanksgiving Eve on a Wednesday. I know.
And the Chiefs will be on that and Thanksgiving
And
Day
then
too.
Thanksgiving Day, and then Black Friday. And it'll be Black Friday because everybody will get injured in that game, having to play their third game in 3 days. So NBA players are like, see, we told you, the back-to-backs.
It's more is not always better. Shrink the game with
Yeah.
the NCAA tournament and with the NFL schedule. It's too much.
Yes.
Yeah,
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. Royals in action tonight. There's an update with Ahmad Hardy. We've talked about CAGs, and obviously with the Chiefs as well. No international game. More Zone coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer hanging out with us, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. The pitch is set to go out at Kansas City Stadium, Mick.
Yeah, I did not know they were just literally going to take the letters off the stadium and put new ones on.
I think it would have been an amazing joke if they would have just taken the A off and then have Andy Reid look at it and told you guys. Been trying to tell you for years.
I feel like he's taking the E off now. I think it's GH.
GH Field.
Told you guys.
Take the A and the E off. Just get rid of all those vowels. You don't need to buy any of those.
Like
just,
those bad hats that just take all the vowels out, so it's only consonants. That's basically what Andy Reid does.
He says it like Elemento. GH Field.
Elemento.
Field.
Elemento. Elemento.
What letter is Elemento?
Elemento. I'm not really sure. I am excited to see Andy rock the new FIFA World Cup Kansas City jersey edition, limited edition there with what FIFA's put out there. That's going to be awesome with Andy Reid in
So did I see a report that they're expecting the Kansas City matches to be sold out? They're pacing to be sold out?
I mean, I wouldn't doubt if they do
lower the price, maybe.
Yeah, if you lower the price, I think a lot more people would go. Have you seen
I was talking to all the
City
soccer guys in our newsroom and everything. It's like, listen, first of all, if you watch the group stage matches in a lot of these World Cups, the stadiums aren't half full. Now, once they get to knockout rounds, then that's okay. They're bigger. But hopefully, I've expected Kansas City to exceed expectations in this whole deal. So it's been kind of disheartening to see, okay, hotel rooms aren't booked up. The ticket sales aren't where they thought they would be. But hopefully, if they price things less, more people to be
They priced the kit, the new jersey for FIFA Kansas City. If you saw that one, this is what they put out yesterday. That's the Kansas City specific.
Is that a button-up thing, or is that a?
No, it's just like a soccer jersey.
Okay,
just a soccer jersey.
Jersey.
Yes, football unites the world is what it says.
How much is that price for?
Roughly, I'll let you guess.
I'm gonna guess it's on the high end, $149.
$75. Michael, what you think this is going to set you back at FIFA, the official FIFA store for the Kansas City specific jersey?
$250.
Okay, you're crazy. $375.
Jesus.
What? I was going to say $450.
Yeah, you're stupid, Michael, with your $250 dumbass.
Is it the world or FIFA that is raising all the prices in the world?
$375.
What are we doing?
Which I'm down with. I'm totally down with doing it, because if they pay me $375 to wear that, I'm good with that. I don't know why people are turning that down. I will
that is absurd.
$375.
I kind of thought my $149 was going to be too high.
I thought 75 was like they want people to wear it.
Exactly. You would like people to walk around with this jersey on that you're creating for each individual city in the host sites. And for those people, because are you going to buy it if you're just in town to watch Ecuador play a game in Kansas City? Or are you going to get maybe an overall FIFA? Like, do you have to get the specific Kansas City one if they're there? Maybe some fans from the home
you have to get one for every city you're playing in the group stages.
But wouldn't that be specific for the cities? They're like, oh, that's awesome, World Cup's in our town. Let's go and get this. $375. You know what? I think I'll wait till they go on sale. I'll wait till the winter time when it's on the sale rack, and grab it there. Right now I'm buying all my winter clothes.
FIFA's just a bunch of bullies. I got
$375 for that.
Well, they're like, we're gonna take up all the hotel rooms so that way all the prices are high. And then right a couple weeks before, hey, we're actually gonna release those now back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all the Airbnbs are getting there.
Are they getting there?
They're
good.
They're getting taken care of. Not all of them,
I
but
thought that was a little
amount.
overrated story, quite frankly, because I do think that was a big story. Was okay, so FIFA, which they do this everywhere just to make sure they book all these rooms and then they'll eventually release them. Well, yeah, of course, all the rooms won't be booked up yet because of multiple factors. When they had them booked, that means there's less rooms, which means price is sky high. Well, once those get flooded back into the market, now that there's more supply, then the demand can then equal out, and you'll have people start getting the hotel rooms for lower prices. If you're coming from, let's say, Algeria, right? Let's say you're coming from Algeria and you want to come to Kansas City because your team's playing here twice.
Yeah, twice.
Well, you're going to be here for 2 weeks. Do you want to stay in a hotel for 2 weeks or an Airbnb in a house for 2 weeks? Yeah. You're going to probably try and choose the house method. So I think there's a multifaceted approach here. I think the games, personally, are going to be great. I think the issue of the hotels will eventually solve itself as we get a little closer. We're getting there, but we're still a month away, a little closer to time.
Yeah, well, I think
I was never super worried by this.
Yeah, the calling it a pacing to being a bust is a little extreme at that point when it was, well, these hotel blocks were saved and reserved for FIFA personnel. It wasn't that they were saved for get a FIFA rate from people in different countries. It was like FIFA personnel. And when that happens, or as Sterling, you're talking about, I'm going to look at, okay, that's a price for this at that hotel versus the short stay accommodations at those places. And one of the reports was that Kansas City is actually one of the best in the short-term stay Rentals, market of all the host cities. That's doing better than expected and above average. I'm like, well, okay, so you're not going to pay the hotel fees. You're going to stay at the Airbnbs, which seem to be doing just fine for people that listed their houses or apartments or whatever it might be for Airbnb for those couple, 3
biggest
weeks.
deal is going to be, okay, how many butts are in seats for these games, right? And I think especially if prices go down, you're going to have locals buy them up. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that say, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me to go to a World Cup event in my town.
I want to take Everett to the game. I
absolutely.
Just don't
and
know
you're going to have people
to.
from Des Moines and Omaha, Columbia coming over, maybe even St. Louis, Wichita, come in and say, hey, this is as close as it's ever going to get. I'm going to do this now that the price isn't $900 for the third level.
That Saturday, June 20th game versus Curacao and Ecuador.
What's that? That's got to be the lowest, right?
But that game is St. Louis Cardinals and Royals play Thursday, Friday, off Saturday, play Sunday. So you might be in town for the Cardinals.
What a great trip.
And then go and see Ecuador versus Curacao on Saturday.
If there's any sports fans left in St. Louis.
Right, exactly. Well, they can see what the capital of the soccer capital of the United States looks like.
They could drive through Jeff City, too, and see the actual capital of Missouri.
Absolutely. They can go from the lowercase over to the capital. That'd be cool for them.
I do wonder.
But also, I think the Kaufman might be kind of a disaster because if you're going to be in town watching the World Cup game, oh, man, there's a game being played at this exact location in baseball. Okay, well, I'm in a different country. I'm going to see that sport. I get to see baseball. And with the parking issue and everything going on out there, I think that Friday night game might be kind of a cluster for Royals and Cardinals because I think that thing might be sold out.
If cluster means fill it up?
Yeah. Clusters because there's a lot of that area that is not going to be available for parking. That's already not available for parking. But hey, you know what? That'd be pretty awesome here in our town. You got Royals, Cardinals, then a World Cup match. That's a pretty cool Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to be at the Truman Sports Complex. That's cool that they have those together. They should probably keep that.
It'll be about a month of fun in Kansas City because it starts June 16th with Argentina and Algeria. Then you have June 20th, Ecuador and Curacao, as you're mentioning. I think shout out Ozzy Albies. I believe he's a Curaçaoan baseball player.
Oh man, if they were playing the Braves, that'd have been crazy.
Would have been kind of fun. June 25th, Tunisia versus the Netherlands. June 27th, Algeria again versus Austria. And then you get to July 3rd. So right before July 4th, you'll have the round of 32, which would be kind of cool. I actually don't know. It'd be awesome if there's a way to make the United States play if they're able to on July 4th. I feel like that would be absolutely electric. I don't know how. Not in Kansas City, obviously, just in general. If they're
well, that would be the knockout round, so that even if there's a July 4th match, they would have to finish in a certain spot in their group to be played on that. Or unless they took all of the winners from that group, and those games are on July 4th in the knockout round.
I don't know if there's a way to make that happen, but that would be incredible just for United States. I feel like that would be really cool to watch. And then July 11th is the quarterfinal. So, again, there's nearly a month-long celebration here in KC. I wonder how many people from each country will come here. I mean, I would imagine if you're Algeria, you would want to come here because that's 2 games here in a 2-week period. Could be kind of cool. Like
the 16th to the 27th, Algeria plays those 2 games.
16th to the 27th. So
11 or 12 days there,
but like, let's say you're Tunisia or the Netherlands or Ecuador or Curacao or Argentina. You only have 1 game. How long do you come? Do you come here?
Right.
I mean,
it'd be cool.
There's some intriguing things.
Because if you're on a shorter stay, I'm going to stay at a hotel.
Sure.
But if I'm looking right now for, okay, my team is base camping there, well, then maybe I'll stay a little bit longer. I'll probably look at the short-term stay.
Is each day just one group? Is that right? Did I hear that right? Like Group E is going to play they'll play their 3 matches that day. of the first, and then a week later, whatever they played, then
probably let you know as it gets closer to it. And
there's probably
there might be a
Group B
schedule for like something like that. They might have the schedule out by now. They probably do.
Well, they do have the schedule out now.
I'm just messing with you.
But
it's a lot to Google it.
I do wonder if Argentina and Netherlands specifically, because they have probably the best chance of group stage getting out, if they're the ones that come and pat Kansas City, because again, that is a situation where
it'd be cool.
You know,
would that be the 3rd or the 11th?
Which one?
The knockout round.
Yeah, the third's the knockout, start the round of 32, and then the quarterfinals is the July 11th.
But if it was like the Argentina and the Netherlands, or the July 11th would be the one where it could be Ronaldo versus Messi, right? That would be both teams finishing in a certain spot and then winning their first knockout round.
So that's how it works. Match day 1 for Group J is on June 16th, and you have Argentina, Algeria here, then Austria, Jordan is in Santa Clara. And then match day 2 is June 22nd, 2 matches. Match day 3 is June 27th, 2 matches. So you'll have each day is one group.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I hope the United States does well in this, because this seems so. They got a good draw. Felt like they had a good
They have 2 games
break.
in LA, I think. 1 in Seattle, 2 in LA.
It just felt like they got a good break as far as who their pod was.
They didn't have to qualify.
We're talking pods yet again, huh?
Well, no, honestly, that's much bigger.
Obviously, they have to qualify, but it did feel like their group was a relatively solid draw for them.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. I'm excited.
It's supposed to be. I mean,
I'm excited, man. I anytime you get to rep the United States and hopefully try and say, hey, we're like, when the United States beat Canada in hockey, how much pride did you feel? I mean, I'm not the biggest hockey guy in the world, but when it happens, you feel the,
no matter what the sport is.
Curling, even I'm gonna
100%. Love curling. Now the
I'll watch
I think it's cool that there will only be 3 matches after Kansas City's final match. There's only 3 bigger matches than our quarterfinal that we have here.
It's a great call.
2 semis and a final. Which I think, 2 are in New York, 1's in Miami. So only 2 other cities get a higher billing than KC.
And it might be the biggest billing if it's Ronaldo versus Messi.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be, $1,000 ticket? Like the get-in price?
Raise it up. It's like a Super Bowl.
Sitting up at the top with your back is against the concrete wall. What do you got? Roughly $1,200.
You think Clark would be happy?
Frank Clark or
Clark Hunt?
Griswold? Oh, that Clark.
I'm sure.
I think he'd be happy.
How's the monetary breakdown work?
Does he get money for that?
I don't know. How do you think it works with how do you think the monetary breakdown
FIFA
works?
would be fine with it.
Well, FIFA obviously,
FIFA would love
but
it.
I'm sure they had to rent out the stadiums. I guess City of Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, I'm guessing there was money paid there if they're taking the signage down and replacing it.
Right. So I'm wondering, like, what's the breakdown? I mean, does Kansas City, Missouri get paid a lot of money, or
That's
is it
so absurd. The FIFA just blows my mind. It's so absurd that they have to put Kansas City Stadium up there. They can't just call it that.
I don't know. I actually do. I'm intrigued.
I'm
with
just
the
excited
monetary
for.
breakdown.
I'm just excited for somebody that watches it on TV from a different country, and their team played at Kansas City Stadium or Arrowhead, and then they come to town for something else, and like, oh, let's go visit that, and they ask, hey, how do we get to Kansas City Stadium? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
No, Kansas City Stadium. Yeah, I guess this is lost in translation. There are a lot of stadiums around here. Okay, I'm not sure what you're talking about. They're all Kansas City stadiums.
Can you imagine, like, the NCAA tournament going to the United Center and tearing that down and saying, no, this is Midwest Regional, okay?
Well, they do it with the courts.
They do it with the courts, I guess.
The name, but they actually say the name of the arena when you're there.
It's a different court. I mean, it's not like they repaint it. It's a different court they put together there.
Which group is the United States in?
They are they D or E or something like that?
Are they in Group E? Oh, someone's trying to get a hold of it.
So I'm looking at economic impact.
Group D
stuff
Group
right now.
D.
Yep.
Okay.
Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey.
Okay, I was going to say if they were Group E, the winner of Group E, if that winner wins the round of 32, they play on July 4th. Trying to see whether winner of Group D would play on July 6th.
It's no fun.
July 1st and 6th. So your dream of playing on July 4th is essentially squashed unless they finish third.
And that's a big
July
July 4th. It's
250. Yeah,
250.
that's what I thought they might have to do. It'd be cool.
That's all right. They'll just celebrate with the UFC on the White House lawn.
Yeah.
For 250.
Yeah.
Although that's not on July 4th either. I think that's in June.
But yeah, there are 2 matches on July 4th. One's in Philadelphia. Oh, that's kind of cool. One's in Houston. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, Philly makes sense because the birthplace really. Yeah.
Yes, the
birthplace is strong, but yeah, the original capital.
The matchup in the round of 16 on July 4th would be the winner of Group E versus the third group A, B, C, D, or F. Finishing third there, but also then making the round of 32 and then winning.
So we need for that to happen. Need the U.S. to be
third, I guess.
But I don't know if you want to roll that dice.
No, not at all, not at all. Because then you're playing the winner of Group E or the winner of Group I.
It's like
to try to get to July 4th
Turkey
game.
or Paraguay.
Just to get to a July 4th game. I don't know. Just reschedule it to have that winner of Group D play on July 4th instead of July 6th in Seattle. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling, wrap up the show coming up next. All right, wrapping up the show. Tonight, Crossroads Soccer Show with Matt Beasler, Nate Bukaty. Thanks, Nate.
Author Nate Bukaty.
That's right. Sporting KC and the LA Galaxy tonight, and then the final whistle after that is over. Speaking of authors, we will have tomorrow on the show Joe Poznansky and Michael Schur on the show tomorrow. They've written a book
guys together. Know how to
write.
Oh, they wrote together?
They wrote a book together. It's called Big Fan. They traveled the globe and just went to different sporting events with fans in those cities.
That's cool.
All across all countries.
In all types of sports?
In all types. Like they
highlight? Did they do highlight?
They did like a big chess match.
Dangerous game. I think it's the world's most dangerous game.
And you don't want to bet on it because it's always fixed, I'm told.
Yeah.
Always fixed.
But they went to like a huge chess match in a different country and a build-up.